making history. Absolutely phenomenal.
And Ace is the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters World Finals.
Storm's still not quite done. MC is going to take this fight, though. 3 seconds left.
Last 2 rounds of match, it's got to start it well for ESC.
And this is a massive move for Zez, but he's not content with just a Nexus kill. He wants to win out.
And it's all done. And Charlotte's winning.
Unbelievable Rogue with a 4-0 victory over Classic.
And they did it again in the grand finals. It's Goldie!
Give it up for your Intel Extreme Masters World Champion!
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day of the IEM Katowice 2024 group stage, the round of 24 group B. I'm of course your host, Light VIP, and with me I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by the amazing players, by my plushies. Quack, quack, quappy, quack. It is great to be back here, and we are here to conclude group B. For those that are maybe unaware, IEM Katowice is an event that did occur a couple of weeks ago. At this point, and we have been going over the group stage to catch up on matches that we otherwise missed out on. Specifically, we have not been casting the matches that were broadcasted on the main stream. We've been going over the matches that were being broadcasted on the side streams. There was a B and C stream at the time, and that is what we are focusing on. We already covered Group A, and we have covered a half of Group B, and now we're here for the other half. We're here for 4 other best of 3s. We're going to be kicking things off with Clem versus Shin, followed by Cure versus Oliveira, followed by Clem versus Bunny, and we end the night with Cure versus Stats. So a couple of TVTs there. Again, there were a lot of Terran players in this group, and it's round robin, so they all played against each other. But if you recall, yesterday we were live, of course, with the first half, and we did cover Shin versus Cure. And I'll be honest, I mean, I think we all thought that it was going to be a sure thing there, but Shin, he popped off. He did pop off. He was able to bring Cure down, surprisingly so. And yeah, it was just really impressive stuff, really impressive showing by Shin. But now he's up against Clem, who arguably has the best TVZ in the world. It's pretty damn good, it's pretty damn terrifying. I know that Maru has been spiking a bit recently as well, that is true, but regardless, Clem, he is still on fire. He's still a beast in this matchup, and I worry for Shin. To be fair though, Shin is an unorthodox player. He's not the most standard of players, so yeah, I'm excited. Very excited to sink my teeth into this TVZ. Meanwhile, welcome everyone in the chat. Welcome, shout out to Soundo for arriving 30 minutes before the broadcast. ¿Qué tal, Soundo? I see Werehog in the chat. Wormshik. Shema, papi, Shema. Good to see you all, and I hope you're all ready for a day of StarCraft. Meanwhile, we also do have the replays available for ESL Open Cup Americas, but I may hold on to that replay cast for an extra couple of days, maybe for a week, just because this week we were busy with the GSL qualifiers and they took up a lot of time. Next week we have some more free time available, and we can indulge ourselves in a couple of other things. We can indulge ourselves in things like the ESL Open Cups. So yeah, we have a little bit more free time next week, so we can fill it up with those kind of broadcasts. We'll try to make it work. Try our best to make it work. Outside of that, let's go in. Let us dive into our first series here. Again, it's going to be a TVZ. Game number 1 is going to be on Alcyone. Let's go. Let us go. We've been seeing a lot of Alcyone as of late, especially during the GSL qualifiers. It's one of the more popular maps in the map pool. Makes sense. It's much more macro-oriented. There's less quirky features in the map as well, despite the goal base, which can come into play. I wonder, is he crazy enough to take advantage of the gold? I hope not. I don't think it would work well for him, but we'll see. We'll find out. We're loading in. loading in. Oh, there we go. I was like, what? Because spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkion, we have our South Korean Zerg player. Our blue Zerg representing Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player representing Team Liquid from the land of France. One of the best Terrans in the world. It is Clem. I do think that at the event of IEM Katowice, Clem, or even leading up to it and the event itself, I think it's hard to say. Obviously, Clem didn't make it to the finals, but I think I would still say that he is one of the best, if not top two, alongside Maru. Both Clem and Maru are just terrifying players in their own right, and yeah, I am really excited to see what we start off with as Clem. Where are we going? Okay, interesting. It's going to be a 2-Rax Reaper opener back at home, but I believe we're going to be throwing down a proxy 3rd Rax. Clem has done this before. I remember seeing this on Golden Aura. I've seen this variation on Golden Aura and maybe on Oceanborn, some of these smaller maps, but this is a wild build to whip out on Alkion. It is going to be 3-Rax Reaper, a much more committed variation of 3-Rax Reaper, and Shin is going Hatch Gas Pool. Standard opener out of Shin. Clem, the goal here, typically with a 3-Rax Reaper, is contain. It's to deny the 3rd base, contain your opponent on 2 bases for as long as possible, trade against the Lings, trade against the Queens. With a more committed variation, I think we are looking for queen kills. I think we're looking for queen kills, we're looking for drone kills as well. We're looking for a little bit more damage, more than just containing the opponent, more than just denying the 3rd. The question becomes, can we achieve more? Well, a lot of that comes down to the reactions here of Shin. The scouting of Shin for the time being gets across the map, does confirm the 2-Rax. He's aware of the Reapers that are coming, but doesn't know how committed this really is. Oh boy. First Reaper is getting across the map. Lings are amassing. Queens are on the way. Ling speed was prioritized before pulling out. Have, of course, pulled out of that gas. And the Reaper going to be able to chip away and shave away at the HP here of those Lings. Not too bad. 1 Ling does go down. Again, we shouldn't be getting any drone kills yet, as we are amassing Lings. Now, Shin has gone for these kind of all-in variations, where off of a 2-Rax Reaper, he does go for a Baneling Nest and just amass Lings. Has done it before. We'll see if he does it here. Again, Queen almost does get a kill on that Reaper. 2 Reapers getting very low. Good control out of time. Does save them. 1 Reaper goes down. 1 Reaper for 1 Queen. Not a bad trade here at all for Clem. But we have 2 more Queens on the way. Meanwhile, we're still amassing more Reapers. And I'm sure Shin now realizes what's been going on. Good grenades once again as well here from Clem. And again, because we have arrived with additional Reapers. Oh, look at the tumor. Queens are low. Wasted energy. And can we get another Queen? We can. A 2nd Queen goes down. We're going to get the 3rd Queen as well. We're snowballing out of control. We have a mass amount of Lings for us around. We've lost 3 Queens so far. And now it's on Shin to chase this down to get us around. But it looks like Clem. Can we escape? Oh. KDA charge is going to be going off as we retreat. It looks like Shin, he just barely can't keep up. Yeah, Clem, he does escape with his Reapers. Did get some amazing amount of damage here. Looking at the trades, it was 1 Reaper for 3 Queens and 1 Ling, and a denied 3rd. The 3rd just now being taken. Meanwhile, Clem working on his own natural base. It is getting up and running. We have a bunker behind this. So Clem, he saw how many Lings there are. And I mentioned before that Shin has been known to Bane bust from this situation. So we have a bunker on the way just in case that were to occur. We can see it's not a Bane bust. Roaches. Roach Warren gets thrown down, 2 more gases are being taken. Shin, I imagine he wants to drone up to 2 base saturation and just double down from there, commit to Roach aggression, to a push, to an all-in. Add-ons are exposed. We could maybe deny Stim. It's possible. It's possible. Do have our 3-Rax setup. Do have our Hellions on the way. The arrival of the Hellions is going to be the end of the aggression of these Lings, which means we cannot deny the Stim. Splash damage from these Hellions will be too much. 3rd CC is on the way. Clem getting into a longer game. And Shin is going for his all-in. Roaches are on the way. Soon to be Ravagers are on the way as well. He has been able to saturate on these 2 bases, taking 3 gas geysers. And that is it. That is all he has. Cutting workers here at 34. 34 drones, all he has, all he needs. And can he catch Clem out? Clem being lured out onto the map. Uh-oh. Being lured out. Does run into a Roach. Big scout. Roach has been spotted immediately. Clem, he backs off. Does back off. Try to take a better position here. Roaches are going to be chipped away out. Ravagers have been revealed. And we have to slow this down. Again, Shin has to be very careful with those Lings because there are so many Hellions. Lings, they can be shaved off. They can be hunted down. That's coming first around. Shin, he collapses on the army. He does get us around here on the Hellions. Very nicely done. The Hellions will fall. The Reapers do escape. It looks like Stim is going to finish up. It's going to be close. It's denied. Stim 1 second away from finishing. Does get denied. Shin pushing through. Do take down the add-ons. We're going for the factory. Yeah, the production has been disrupted. Bile's going to be connecting here, taking down the bunker. The bunker falls. Boys are being pulled. There is another bunker, but it's a little bit too far back. And the Biles, they will bring it down. Too many Biles. Bunker falls. Again, it's 11 Ravagers in total, and Clem just doesn't have enough. Another bunker goes down. Again, if he had Stim, maybe another story here. But without it, his Marines are just that much less useful here. The Starport gets focused down. No more Liberator. Boys being pulled once again. Lings, they're flooding in. Again, we can see Shin was so patient with his Lings. He kept them back the entire time. Has not thrown them away. Now he's camping the production. Biles being thrown down. Remember, Clem doesn't really have much in the main. He went for the 30C. And GG gets caught. Shin, he has too much. He overwhelms. And he will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, Shin, he's a very aggressive player. He's a very aggressive player. And for Shin to, I assumed it was going to be a Bane Bust follow-up, and I think Clem assumed that as well, but no, it went into Roach Ravager, instead went for the all-in. Clem did a lot of damage. I don't want to say that his opener failed. It didn't. The opener of Clem didn't fail. He killed 3 queens. Like, he did a decent amount of damage there. He contained the 2 bases. He forced the all-in. Basically, an all-in, not this specific all-in, but an all-in was the only option there from Shin. Otherwise, he would just be playing from behind. And Clem was expecting some aggression. The Roach Ravager did rock up, and really a big moment there for Shin was that surround right outside the base. And the timing of the push. Let's be real here. If Shin had hit even 1 second later, Stim finishes. Like, Stim was 1 second away from finishing. It was crazy how close that was. If Stim finishes, and I'm not saying that that would have been the end of the game, but Clem would have had he would have had such a stronger defense with Stim. He would have had more pushing power, more diving power with his Marines to try to get on top of those Ravagers. So there's that factor that came into play. Obviously, the surround of the Hellions, right? Where Shin, he sent his Lings towards the north. He was able to get a wraparound on the army. Big moment there as well. So that's 2 things going in his favor. The other big thing, the production. All the production, all 3 Raxes, the factory, and the starport, everything was at the natural. So once the natural was broken, I mean, where came the production there? Like, we cannot reinforce. Nothing can come out without being focused down immediately. So Clem couldn't really muster up an army once his natural base had been broken in such a way. Like, there was just so much working against Clem in that moment. And GG, well played. Shin takes a lead in the series. He 2-0'd Cure yesterday, and now here he is up against Clem. Can we go the distance? Can we go all the way? Let's go. As we're getting ready for game number 2, going to be on Golden Aura. And already I'm pleasantly surprised by the results. By game 1. And here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our French Terran player, the Red Terran representing Team Liquid, being punished for his cheese, for his aggression in game 1. We'll see what he goes for here in game 2. Can he bring it back? It is Clem. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Zerg player, representing Mystery Gaming, leading the series 1-0. Going for a 15-15, very safe opener. It is Shin. After what happened in game 1, Shin doesn't want that to happen ever again, and going for a very safe follow-up here. 15 hatch into the 15 spawning pool. With this means faster queen production, it means faster ling production, delayed gases. That's the downside here. It is slightly inefficient, slightly less economic as an opener for Shin, and as I did mention, does mean that his gases are going to be very delayed. We'll see how delayed these gases are. Now, an opener that Dark is quite fond of on Golden Aura is to open up gasless. Go 15-15, delay his gases, and take a third base. Then you then you drone a little bit more, you saturate your natural, and then you go into your first, second gas quite late. Something that Dark does love on Golden Aura, the reason why he does it quite often on this map is because of how close these bases are to each other. In this matchup specifically, in the early game, you can harass the bases with Hellions, sure, but because these areas are so close together, because of these choke points here outside the natural and here at the third base, if you have 4 queens, and we're going to have more than 4 queens, then we're going to be able to split them up and defend these choke points and make sure that Clem cannot get into any of these mineral lines. You can be very greedy. You can be quite greedy here on Golden Aura. We can see that Shin, though, does take his gas. Takes his gas, will take his third base at a much more reasonable time. Meanwhile, Reaper is on the way. It was a Rax Expand at a Clem, a much more standard opener here from our Red Terran player. Much more standard opener here as Reaper does get across the map, does zip in. Doesn't quite get much done though. Is going to be forced away, zoned away by Shin. And Shin is going to be trying to get into his third base, but is zoned away by the Reaper. Third is going to be delayed for a couple of seconds as Shin comes back in. Managed to get it up and running on location. And we should be able to get past this into the early to mid game here. Going for the add-on swap as well. Getting into... Oh, interesting. Okay, getting into Hellion production. And I was about to say we should be getting into a third CC, but no, we're going for a starport. And you may be thinking, where is the starport? It's across the map. Clem is being crazy this series. In game 1, went for a proxy. Here in game 2, likewise, very different proxy, but a proxy starport for... We could do one of two things. We could go for a drop, or we could go for Hellion Cyclone, and with a Liberator harassing the main base. We can go Lib to harass the main, or a Medevac to drop into the main. I'm feeling Lib, but we'll see. Clem, again, still amassing his army. Yep, there it is. Liberator is in production. Hellions and Cyclones on the way. Clem gonna try and pull Shin apart. Can he do so? Look at the army here. We have 4 queens so far, soon to be 5 for Shin. Queen's still amassing, bit of a supply block. Stopping, delaying that 6th queen. Clem does rotate around. Third CC's on the way. He's not all in by any means. Very committed though. Starting a concussive shell? Wait, what? I think we're doing this to eventually cancel. Are we going to plan on playing mech? Yep, we cancel. We cancel shell. Get into stim. Okay, not going to be mech here. Cyclones have been revealed. It looks like we do get a queen. 1 queen does go down. A Liberator sieges up into the main base. Spore is a little bit too late. And drones are going to be going down. We get 2 workers in the main. Spore about to finish up. And meanwhile, we get another queen. Question is saving the 3rd queen. Cyclones barely breaking through here. These queens looking so exposed. But Ling reinforcements, they come in first round. And they just barely do get it. They get 1, 2 helis, they get the Cyclone. And they surround the second Cyclone as well. Good cleanup here by Shin. He has held. That was a tight hold as well. He lost 2 queens in the process. He lost 3 drones. Cleaned up the lib. And Shin survives. Starport is floating back home. And this is brutal. This starport, when these medevacs, are going to be so delayed. Medevacs are so delayed because we're floating back home. Third CC is getting up and running. We're getting to our bio production, into eventually tanks, I imagine. There we go. Tech lab on the factory is finishing up for that tank production. And Shin is getting ready to push out. He's cutting workers at 41. Cutting workers at basically 2 base saturation, to be honest. 41 drones. We're amassing roaches, ravagers. We're going for another big timing. And Clem is vulnerable. Clem is vulnerable right now. He has nothing to work with. He has a handful of Hellions. He has 1 tank. He's going to have 1 tank to defend. And he has to keep it safe against the biles of these Ravagers. As we are amassing our army. There it is. Ravagers getting across the map. Hellions, they move out to expand to take the third. And the Ravagers, they have arrived. Keeper's going to be filed down. The tank still in the main. The other SimCity working against Clem. The tank gets on the way. Deepa's going to be going down. Clem is supply blocks. The tank does siege on the high ground. We don't care about the tank. We lay siege here upon the natural base. Lings, they're flooding in. And the boys are being pulled. Big piles here. They do graze the tank. Ravagers are getting surrounded. Yeah, Ravagers taking a lot of damage. 1 tank goes down. Second tank has arrived. 23 ACVs fall. And again, Clem's still in a lot of trouble. Behind this, we're getting a lair. We are droning up a little bit. Looks like Shin isn't feeling too confident about breaking the main base, but he does at least have control of the natural. And Shin is droning. Is droning on up. These 6 Ravagers putting in a lot of damage. A lot of work. So we do focus down. One of those Ravagers was down to 5. And Shin has to back up. Does retreat. As the dust does settle, we have killed 23 SCVs. We killed a couple of Marines. We killed a tank. Killed the Hellions, of course. Clem did retain his Marine counts, and now we have to go for a counterattack. We have to get some damage done, as Shin is taking a massive economic lead. The pressure is on Clem. Go for the double jump. Does unload. We can see Shin checking the gold, making sure that Clem doesn't pull a fast one over on him. And Shin, we're transitioning into Ling Bane Roach Ravager. That is a Baneling Nest on the way. 1-1 is done for Clem. Armory for 2-2. 2-2 is going to be delayed because of that armory. That will give Shin the opportunity to catch up in upgrades, at least a little bit. That 4th base is on the way. Again, Clem, he cannot afford to come back home with this drop. He has to get value here. He has to get damage done. Infestation Bit is on the way for Shin. We're stimming in. Denied Tumor. With the hatchery. Shin is in position. Will defend that base. Oh. Okay, calm down, Pappy. Calm down. Shin holding onto the hatchery. Meanwhile, across the map. This is going to be force back files, even grazing the Marines. Ice is on there by Shin. He's rushing into a hive. I thought the infestation bit was going to be for infestors to be safe, but no. Like, this is a very fast hive here by Shin. Like, it doesn't even have 1-1. Doesn't even have the bailing speed. The hive is on the way. That will help out with Adrenal. You can see Clem recovering, getting back up to 3 base economy. As he is recovering, there, the Lings, they come in. Oh, they almost did. There are Hellbats in position. Quick reaction out of Shin. It does pull back, going for Bailing run by. Clem pulled back for a moment. Does have a tank on the high ground. Has those Hellbats. Bailing should get damage done. They're rolling in. Bailing speed has completed. They get into mineral line and Clem. Ooh, late reaction. Big connections and 18 SVs go down. Clem will lose his mineral line and he is committed. Shin is already up to 80 drones. He's up to 80 workers. Will go up this hatchery. The base will go down. Files connect. And Shin goes for another Ling run by. Goes to the same third base. Cleans up whatever was left. 10 more SCVs go down. Clem, he's all in. At this point, he's completely all in. We have to keep going. We have to keep pushing. Shin gonna be pulling back. Well, Clem looks like he wants to rotate around. I mean, he killed a base. That's true. He did kill a base. Shin, he gets knocked down to 4 bases. But Clem needs more than just killing a hatchery. He is reestablishing his base. He could try to lift up his main, but no, he does have a 4th on the way. He is being landed on location. Clem rotating around. Does rotate around. Ultra Caverns on the way here for Shin. Making use of that hive. Adrenals on the way as well. Adrenal, Ultras. I believe we don't have a Viper. No, we do! 3 Vipers are already out. Shin, he comes in once for the 3rd time. Clem losing his mineral line, losing his workers. Big lightning clouds here on the tanks. As we will collapse on them. Yoinking the final tank. Every tank goes down. We're down to only a handful of bio units, a handful of Marines. Shin, he will pull back. And again, Clem, his economy crippled time and time again. You don't want to be a worker, not under Clem's army. Not like this. They just want to mine, Bobby. Let them work. Aye. As we can see, Clem just muling his heart out. Trying to stay in this, trying to keep up. Got 3 more Ultras on the way. Oh, the Vipers have to be careful. As they do top up their energy. Double drop into the main. Parasitic bombs thrown down. Gonna get quite a bit of damage done here on these medevacs. Likewise, we can see Clem going for a mine drop at the same time. Doesn't get much damage done. Shin, he does react in time. Does only lose 3 drones to the 3 mines. Good reaction out of Shin. Ooh, when he does kill a Widow mine. And the problem here is that there's no answers to the Ultras. We have a Bio Mine Marauder. Like Marine Marauder Medevac Widow mine. That's all we do have. No Ghosts, no Liberators. We don't have the economy for it. We've just been so crippled here in our economy that we just cannot take up. We could end up in a weird position here where Clem is pushing, but he's pulling back home. And Shin collapses on the 3rd base. Big lightning cloud here on the Marines. Good mine shots. Good mine shots on the Banelings. But again, the Ultras, they have kindness plating, they have +2. They have 2-2 on them. 1 Ultra goes down towards the left-hand side, but we're breaking into the natural and the 3rd base. Lings, they come in to reinforce. GG gets called, and Shin has done it. He takes down Clem 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Shin. Bobby. Very well played, very well done here by Shin. Takes down Clem 2-0. To be fair, this was a very aggressive series from Clem specifically. Winding it back, remember, game 1, Clem went for not a 2-Rax Reaper, he went for a proxied 3-Rax Reaper build against Shin. Was able to get damage done, but he triggered an all-in that wasn't scouted. Didn't scout the all-in, did pay the price for it. Here in game number 2, somewhat similar story here, where we saw Clem go for a proxy again. He went for a proxy starport here in game 2, something very unorthodox. Went for proxy liberator, went for a Hellion Cyclone push. He was able to kill queens, but he wasn't able to deal any economic damage, and he forced an all-in out of Shin. Shin's all-in didn't kill Clem this time, but it did cripple him, and Shin was able to get ahead, macro out of it, have an economic lead, have a tech lead, and Shin was in control of that game. That's why he had the freedom to go for Baling run-bys, Ling run-bys, because of the lead that Roach Ravager push had given him. And with that, congratulations. Congratulations here to Shin, as he does take down Clem 2-0. Again, Shin flexing his unique ZVT style. Again, he showed it off against Kior yesterday in much more standard games. Here against Clem, we had a little bit more chaos ensuing. It was a little bit more chaotic overall, but regardless, GG, well played. Ooh. But this is not the last we're seeing, or these are not the only 2 players that we're going to be featuring here tonight. We have Clem and Shin now taking a bit of a break, because up next we have a TVT between Oliveira and Cure. Let's go. We have our TVT upon us. We've had a lot of Terran versus Terrans over the past couple of days, but that's because of how Terran heavy this group is. A lot of Terrans, of course. Cure, Oliveira, Clem, and Bunny. They're all involved in this group. And who will come out on top? Again, Oliveira, he had some success yesterday. We saw him take down Stats. I believe we also saw Oliveira take down another Terran opponent. He 2-0'd Bunny. That's it. He was able to 2-0 Bunny as well. Very impressive fashion. But now he's up against Cure. Up against Cure. We'll see how he fares. That's game 1. Gonna be on hard lead. Let's go. Let us go. Yeah, Shin having a really good performance here in the group stage so far. Having a lot of success. We'll see how much success he can get, though, as again, we're going to be featuring more of him later on. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of hard lead, we have our Chinese Terran player, the reigning world champion, the blue Terran, representing Dragon Kai Z Gaming. It is Oliveira. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have its opponent. We have the red Terran player from land of South Korea, representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. And Cure's TVT has been becoming quite terrifying recently. Reason why, I mean, I would attribute, is during the WTL main events a month ago at this point, a couple of weeks ago, we actually got a couple of interviews. We got a couple of interviews regarding Team Liquid, as they had a very deep run in WTL, and they opened up a little bit about themselves, about their team, about how they prepare for matches, and they also did mention about how Cure, upon joining Team Liquid, it wasn't just that he had joined Team Liquid and now he's on their payroll and now he plays for them whenever he can. No, there's a little bit more to it, and he does do customs with his teammates, and he and Clem have been practicing together, and I do think that shows in their TVT. I know for a long time TVT, I mean, I still think TVT is one of the weaker, or the weakest matchup that Clem has, but it has been improving, and both Cure and Clem's TVT has been looking quite similar. They've both been, it feels like cooking together, and it smells good. It does smell good, but here we go. So yeah, it's really cool to see Clem like gain a valuable practice partner in Cure. And we'll see how these two Terran players will differ. For the time being, mirrored builds. It's going to be a double gas opener out of Oliveira, double gas out of Cure, which means faster factories, delayed CCs, and Cure has been one to embrace the new Cyclone quite a lot. We saw Oliveira mix up his openers last broadcast. We saw him mix up his openers, mix up his builds. Was the times going economic? Was the times going aggressive? And we have seen Oliveira go for this faster tank style. We'll see if he does so again as we get our CCs on the low ground for both players. Reapers, they do engage for a moment, but they back off. Reapers will retreat. Cyclones are going to be on the way. Going to be on the way here. Getting to our starport production here. Again, the starport should be for a medevac drop. 2 Reapers, they make it across the map. And ooh, here he does shoot first. Does get the first shot off, and he will delay the CC. Again, a bit of miscontrol there out of Oliveira. Just slight micro variations, and Cure, he barely comes out on top. And as a result, we'll have a faster CC, a better economy. His starport is slightly faster as well. Again, this should be for medevac production. And there it is, medevac is on the way for some cyclone drops, as Oliveira is going to be slightly one step behind. Slightly. So yeah, we did have a bit of a pop-off there in towards the early game, but now things are going to be settling down. We're going to be working towards our next step, which is going to be that drop play. There it is. There's the add-on swap. We have reactor cyclones in production from both Cure and Oliveira. Welcome to TBT. Cyclone edition, Bobby. Let's go. And the drops are moving out. We have a Cure moving on the right hand side. Oliveira, does he also move out as well towards the left? He should, but again, his medevac is slightly delayed as Cure is about to arrive, and Oliveira, he's staying back at home. He's ready to receive in the main, but the drop arrives here in the natural. Oh, locals go off. Reaper goes down. Good juggling here from Cure, but it looks like Oliveira will shut this down, takes down the medevac, and will shut down the cyclones as well. Good trade here from Oliveira, trading out 1 cyclone for 2 cyclones and a medevac. Very nicely done. Good defense overall, and now it's going to be Oliveira's turn. It's going to be his turn to go for his own cyclone drop, getting across the map. Cure back at home should be expecting it. He did see the cyclones, he saw the medevac. Doesn't have anything in the main. He does have his army here at the natural. 3rd TC in production from both players. This has become more trendy to throw down the 3rd TC as soon as your starport is done, or after the starport, before the rest of your production. CC is delayed. Getting to mineral line. SCVs are going down. Oh my god. 4, 5, 6 SCVs. Very nice damage here from Oliveira. Good damages though. Cure trying to reciprocate that damage. Does get into the main base. It looks like he will delay his opponent's 3rd CC for a moment. So it does get some damage done. Also confirms and scouts that there is a 3rd CC in production, which Cure didn't know. Was not aware of. Was not aware of. As the game is going to be settling from here. As we take stock, Oliveira, again, he was able to take more of an economic lead. So is going to be working towards his 3rd base, though, and that'll be, depending on when the 3rd base gets taken, we'll see who's able to extend that lead even further. Cyclones have a mass, but interestingly enough, neither player moved out with their Cyclones. We're chilling back at home. On top of that, we saw, we have 8 Cyclones each, and we're just chilling back at home. Both players expecting the other to push in, but no such thing occurred. And now Oliveira is moving out to take his 3rd. Meanwhile, Cure should soon be doing the same, as his 3rd base was delayed a little bit further, so it's a little bit later. Oliveira going to be in a nice position, moves out with the rest of his army. Looking at the units tab here, we have an even Raven count. We have a slight Cyclone lead for Oliveira. Meanwhile, Cure may be down a Cyclone, but he's up a tank. He's got that 1 tank here at the natural, so far unsieged. Uh-oh. And here comes Oliveira. He's got the concave. Tank del siege. Big shot goes off here on those Cyclones. The auto touch were forced out. Oliveira does have to back up. Does retreat. Cure can expand. Yes, we do have disables available for Oliveira, but there are the counter Cyclones and Ravens in position. Pushing in is not going to be easy. We're going for it. Oh my god. Stars are thrown down. Ooh, high energy Raven goes down for Oliveira. And he would not break in. Sole defense here by Cure. Throws down the Tars, takes down the Ravens. Gets one, gets two, gets all three. Three Ravens go down. And Cure completely dominates this fight. Again, a little bit blunder there by Oliveira. The auto turrets and the push was a little bit mistimed, and again, we were lacking auto turrets because of the dead Raven. And now suddenly everything swings in favor of Cure. Looking at his units here, even on tanks, has a Marine lead, Cyclone lead just barely. He's moving out. And Oliveira, hold on. Can we survive? Secure retreating. He's going to be pulling back. Likewise, Oliveira is going for his own double drop. We do have our Sense Towers being thrown down. Cure. Yeah, well, both players actually had a nice worker count. Nice. Oliveira's double drop was spotted. Cure had control of the Zonaga, and he may opt to commit. Going for his own double drop as well. There's potential for damage. Cure has a supply lead, but Oliveira, he can bounce back. Gets a couple of SCVs. Gets a couple of SCVs, does back off. Meanwhile, we have a drop in towards the main, but we are in position. Cure ready to shut this down. Sorry, Oliveira ready to shut this down. Cure, he does go in. Gets two SCVs, but the medevac's going to be focused down here. By Oliveira, gets one medevac. And he has the Viking, so he should get the other. Meanwhile, big caught off guard. Here he catches workers. 9 SCVs go down, gets on top of the CC as well. The Vikings going ham, and can he focus it down? He can. It's so close. That's going to be a kill on the 4th base. 400 minerals down the drain. Oliveira, he's being pulled apart. Unable to read the movement here of Cure. Caught out of position. And we can keep going. Takes a couple of tank shots to the face. Oliveira working on his own counterattack. Vikings are here. Oh, the medevac. Full medevac goes down. Good moves there from Cure. The boys are being pulled. SCVs are going down, but we will clean this up. And there's no escaping. At the same time, Cure, he collapses on the army, cleans up the Marines from behind. And Oliveira, he plummets in supply. He has a couple of tanks here back at home. Not much to support them. And Cure is pushing. He's moving out. Thanks to Siege. Tank shots are being soaked there by the Cyclone. We still on forward. We get on top of the tanks. And can we break Oliveira? It's so close. He's down to 3 tanks. Barely alive. And it's going to be too much to handle. GG gets pulled. Oliveira losing too much steam there. And Cure takes game number 1. Ooh. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Quite a back and forth there between Oliveira and Cure. But I will say, basically, when Oliveira had when he committed to his push towards the natural, when he overcommitted, overextended at the 3rd specifically, it feels like that's when Oliveira really threw away any kind of lead that he had. And he did have an economic lead. He did have a faster 3rd base. But yeah, he did lose quite a lot of supply in the attack at the third of Cure. That's when Oliveira lost all of his Ravens. That's when he lost all of his Cyclones. That's when he lost a lot and all of his momentum. And Cure was in control from that moment forward. And with that, Cure takes game 1. And we'll see if Oliveira can fight back in game number 2. Can he fight back? As we're going to be loading in to Solaris. Solaris. Nice, not nice. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our Chinese Terran player, our blue Terran, our reigning world champion representing CranKy Gaming. It is Oliveira. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran, the red Terran player representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. One more game and he will take the series. It is Cure. Oliveira, he needs to fight back here and now to force that ace match. And again, he had his moments. I mean, he had a better start. He had a stronger start against Cure. But again, maybe got a little bit too overconfident, did overextend definitely, and did lose that lead. We'll see if he can tighten things up here in game number 2. As we're getting into our openers, once again, both players opening up double gas. Double gas from Oliveira, double gas from Cure. Faster factories on the way. No one is rushing into their economy, at least not in this series. Not in this TVT. We go. $200 IQ metaphor. Oh, I don't know what I said. Don't remember what I remember what the nice was referring to. That was when both players had 69 workers. That was a good moment. Don't remember what else I said. Here we go. Again, this should be leading once again into Cyclone production, into a Cyclone drop, into Reactor, into Reactor Cyclones. That should be the direction of our players. We'll see if either one does deviate and opt to go into Hellions instead, into like Reaper Hellion, into faster tank production. That is also on the table. It's also viable. It is viable here. As Cure gets across the map, he does have an SCV to tank a shot. Ooh, both players do. Worker goes down. CC is delayed. A good moment there for Cure. Both players lose workers, but the CC is later for Oliveira now as a result. Cure's his own underway. Own CC is well underway. Behind this, Cyclone production has commenced. Reactor should be on the way. There we go. Reactor for Oliveira. Reactor for Cure. Cure even trying to slip into the main. And we'll see what he gets his eyes on. Does confirm the production. Ooh, we'll pull back. Does confirm the add-ons as well. There are some weird builds where you can go into a faster tech lab. There's the add-on swap to get into the Reactor Cyclone production. Likewise, we should be seeing the same. We should be seeing the same here as well. Cyclones on the way. So fun fact, for the time being, both players have gone for the same builds. Exact same builds, 2 games in a row. Likewise, Oliveira does confirm as well. Ooh, loses the Reaper for it. But he saw the 1-1-1. There is that add-on swap. Ooh, meanwhile, okay, Cure, he does go for an initial medevac, that is true. Oh wait, never mind. I don't know if you saw for a moment he started a Liberator, but he goes for the add-on swap. Should be Raven production from Cure. And the drop, it is coming. Likewise, Oliveira also moving out. It's going to be slightly later. This time Oliveira doesn't have his Cyclones to defend. Oh. Doesn't have his Cyclones in position. Cyclone's in the natural. Curie gets into the main. And SCVs, they're gonna go down. Cyclones, they annihilate workers. Already 3, 4, 5 SCVs go down in a matter of seconds. Reapers into the natural as well. Oliveira being pulled apart. Cyclone does arrive. A bit of miscontrol out of Cure. Did miss the juggling there. Meanwhile, across the map, Oliveira also getting damage done. That was match and trade there. Oliveira losing 7 SCVs, Cure losing 5 across the map. Both players survive with 1 Medivac and 1 Cyclone, but Curie comes back in. He wants that worker. He wants it. He's gonna get it. Ooh. Getting 2 more, soon to be 3 more SCVs, 4 more SCVs even. The fight. As Curie finally gets shut down. Even losing the Medivac. But looking at the trades here, what did we get? We got 11 SCVs. 11 SCVs, 1 Cyclone for a Medivac drop. Not a bad trade here for Cure. He does take a pretty substantial worker lead. He's ahead. Kills on the Cyclone. Slows down the push. We can see Cure going for a 3rd TC. Meanwhile, Oliveira, where's his 3rd? Not in sight. He's pushing. We're committed. We're moving out. We're down in workers. SCV Scout does confirm the army. Cure getting in position. He does have Ravens. The tanks are good, but we do have Order Hearts available. Liberator has arrived. Ravens coming in from behind. Order Hearts are thrown down. Boys are being pulled as well. And Cure, he collapses on this army. Takes down 1 tank. Takes down the 2nd as well. And just like that, Cure, he just swallows it up. Barely loses any SCVs. Only 4. I'm a little bit shocked. Only 4 SCVs go down. Cure does defend, and back at home, Oliveira. Now he's getting to his own Raven production, his own tank production as well. Well, the rest of his tank production. And Cure is doubling down on Cyclones. So we can see Oliveira just committing to earlier tanks instead, but did throw away 2 tanks. That tank lead isn't as large as it should be. That's the power of this build that Oliveira is going for. The faster tech level in the factory means that you can hit a really strong like 5 tank push. But Oliveira, he just threw away his first 2 tanks. As a result, this push is going to be so delayed for Oliveira, and Cure, he's free to expand. Free to expand to take his 3rd CC. Oliveira scans, sees how late the 3rd is from... Sorry, Cure scans, sees how late the 3rd is from Oliveira. See, it's still being morphed into an orbital. Army moves out. Without Raven... Oh, never mind. I was going to say without Ravens, we can't really break the natural, but with Ravens, suddenly this army is that much more terrifying. Cure, he can go for just a mass disable on the tanks and break the natural base. And there's not much that Oliveira can do to stop it. Now though, Cure chilling at the 3rd. Oliveira going for some Raven harass. Uh-oh. I'm getting deja vu. These Ravens are going to be spending their energy to harass across the map, which means that that may be a trigger for Cure to push in. Ravens are revealed. And the order that's going to be dealt with. Cure does come across the army. Nice tank volley on that Cyclone. Scan reveals 3 tanks. We can disable every one of them. But after losing a Cyclone, Cure, yeah, he's not going to commit. Oh! Oh, as Cure, he catches one of the Ravens. Really a nice catch there by Cure, and he's not slowing down. Oliveira, meanwhile, finishing up his upgrades. As Stim, Combat Shields, 1-1, all finishing up. Stim still a couple of seconds away. It is 10 seconds off. As again, Oliveira, he's got his 5 tanks. He's got a good bio army. Is pushing. Cure sees, rotates over. Cure has the advantage in his Ravens. Has more spells available, more abilities. He's just trying to find another way in. Uh-oh. Trying to find another way in. There is a spotter turret here from Cure. Oliveira retreating, getting into 2-2, building up his economy. Cure still ahead in that worker count. Ahead in the SCVs. Getting his 4th on location. Again, Cure does have map control. Scans ahead of time. We're going to be pushing in. Oh my god, the mass disable every single tank. Auto charts are thrown down. We stim on forward. We're on a timer. The tanks are about to come out of the disable. Reinforcements are coming in, and we are barely breaking through. Oh my god. We stim on forward. We break the army. We get on top of the tanks. GG gets called, and Cure will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. An insane fight there from Cure. And again, Oliveira, he took the risk. He took the risk of harassing with his Ravens, spending energy elsewhere, right? Meanwhile, Cure's Ravens, the reason why he could disable everything and throw down Autotars as well, he was preserving and preserving all that energy and topping up those Ravens until that moment, until that fight. Up until then, he hadn't spent any energy on those Ravens. So he was just, again, storing it up for that final moment. Oliveira was again focusing on harassing. He lost the Raven as he was retreating back home as well. We saw how impactful Ravens can be, especially in a TVT. Sure, Oliveira, he had the tank lead. He did. He had a much higher tank count. He was like up 2-3 tanks compared to his opponent. But tanks, they don't matter. Or Ravens, they don't care about your tanks. Don't even care, mate. Aye. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Cure for taking the series 2-0. My condolences to Oliveira. Did stumble a little bit in this TVT. He took down Bunny earlier, but here against Cure did struggle a little bit more. But we spoke about Cure, about how his TVT has been looking terrifying and it has been improving quite a lot. I'm sure thanks to Clem as well. I mean, I'm sure Cure has a lot of practice partners, but yeah, it has been really cool to see both Cure and Clem grow together in their TVT matchup. And with that, speaking of Clem, here he is. Up next, we have another TVT in this group. As a reminder, it is a round-robin group stage, so everyone plays against everyone. Just had Oliveira versus Cure. Now we have Clem versus Bunny in another TVT. Have more Terran versus Terran ahead of us. Before we can sink our teeth into this TVT, though, we will have a short break. We're going to be getting a short break here. We are halfway through the broadcast. We only have 4 best of 3s today. We had 5 yesterday. It was 9 in total, so we had 5 yesterday, 4 today. So we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, Clem versus Bunny coming at you next. See you soon. Take this moment to hydrate your Hydra, stretch roaches, massage your Marines, and we will be back in a couple of minutes with our next match. See you soon. Cut. and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, hope you enjoyed that break. Hope you enjoyed that lovely Brutal OST as we have returned with the second half of the broadcast. We've returned here with the second half with some more TVT action. We're not done. We almost are. We have 2 series remaining here in Group B. We have Clem versus Bunny to kick things off, and we end the night with Cure versus Stats. Cool. So we can get some more Cure action here towards the end. But yeah, I'm excited for this. Always excited to cast some more Bunny. I mean, I'm personally a bit of a Bunny fan. We saw Bunny struggle though yesterday. Oliveira 2-0'd Bunny last night in the first half of the IEM Katowice group stage. And now Bunny, he's going to have to try to redeem himself here against Clem. Clem, who, as we mentioned, has also been improving his TVT alongside Cure and has leveled up quite a bit, I would say, in this matchup. But of course, the meta has shifted, the meta has changed, and we'll see how many Cyclones we make. Show me, papi, show me. Let's go. The Brutal OST is the Brutal OST is like my face. It's like my screenshot. It's beautiful. So good. So good. One of these days, I still have to play Brutal Remastered. Like, I've never... Well, StarCraft Remastered. I got it in release, and I played so much Brutal as a kid, but I never went through the new Remastered campaign. I'd love to. I'd love to relive the childhood memories. But before we get into that, we can get into our series. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Mystery Gaming. It is Bunny. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player, the Red Terran himself, representing Team Liquid, our DreamHack Atlanta champion, ESL Masters Winter Champion for 2023. It is Clem. Here we go. TVT is upon us, and once again, double gas openers here. Double gas out of Bunny, double gas out of Clem. No one is taking a risk, not on a small map like Oceanborn. If we ever load into Site Delta, for example, or Alcyone, then I expect to see Rax expands sprinkled in. But on some of these smaller maps, it is crazy and risky to open up economically in a TVT, so it is not going to be happening. Not here, not in Game 1. Not in game number 1. We have our SCV scout coming in from Clem. I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the Korean Terrans actually avoid SCV scouting. Players like Cure, players like Bunny, Maru, Byun. In TVT, SCV scouting is more of a rarity. But we can see Clem, he just wants to be safe and secure. So he comes in, does confirm the opener, does confirm the double gas. So he's fully aware of what Bunny is up to. Technically, yes, Clem has the safety or the wherewithal to now be aware of what Bunny's doing. Bunny is in the dark, but Bunny is more efficient. That one worker that is scouting for Clem is mining for Bunny, so does have an economic lead, slight economic lead as a result. Ooh, what are we up to? Reaper comes in. Oh my god. Reaper looking for the SCV, does not come across it. As we do pull back, Clem meanwhile coming in with his own scouting worker, going to be trying to tank one of those shots. Gonna try and take it here to Bunny. Goes to the SCV. Oh, will delay the CC on the low ground. Very nicely done. As we do tank a couple of shots here, but it looks like Clem, he has to retreat, has to back off, but he did the damage he was looking for. He does delay the command center, at least for a couple of seconds. Does delay it. Bunny, meanwhile, counterattacking, at least trying to, does recognize he doesn't want to overextend, as Clem should also be making another Reaper behind this. Actually skipping the Reaper, so Bunny could have kept pushing, but he doesn't know. It's one of those things where you can be aggressive with Reapers, but it's so risky to do so because you don't know what you're running into. We can see that Clem, he skipped his second Reaper, went for a faster reactor into an add-on swap into Cyclone production. So we have reactored Cyclones already. Bunny still not there. Still building up his first reactor because of that second Reaper. Working towards an eventual Cyclone drop. Likewise, Clem should be doing the same. Because of Clem's build, he will have a Cyclone advantage, which is pretty big in TVT. in the early to mid game, it's all about the Cyclones. And we do scout 2 of them already. Denied scouting of the main base. Bunny has a better idea of what's going on, as he's still waiting for that medevac before he can push out. And the question becomes, will Clem have anything back at home to defend? Will they both drop each other at the same time? So we go, we have the first medevac drop here from Bunny. Staying back at home, actually. Okay. We're going to be staying back at home. I mean, it looks like he has recognized that he has a Cyclone deficit, so it looks like he wants to be more defensive. He's waiting here for the army. Meanwhile, Clem, he's up to 4 Cyclones. Bunny just now coming out with his own 2. So 4v4, we have the Reaper as well. And Clem is going to be trading out a Cyclone. 2 Cyclones go down. Big trade there for Bunny. At the same time, we do have a Reaper stepping into the main base. Getting an SCV, getting 2. Getting some damage done, and we get eyes on the 3rd TC of Bunny. Clem now aware of the economic follow-up here. Back at home, going for his own 3rd. A little bit behind that of Bunny's, but it's on the way. And so far, I want to give the edge to Bunny. Again, he was able to out-trade Clem with those Cyclones, but now he's coming out with a drop. Again, Cyclones, it takes seconds. It takes seconds to kill SCVs. And it can be quite terrifying if we get a late reaction. There we go. Bunny does see. Cyclones have been spotted. We're going to get 1 SCV in the main base, and we do force back the army. Good reaction out of Bunny. Behind this, we can see Bunny already working towards his tank production. So he has cut Cyclones at 4. 4 Cyclones for Bunny, then into tank production. Meanwhile, Clem still committed to Cyclones, still no tanks. This is something that both Clem and Cure have been doing quite a lot of, where you commit to Cyclone production up until 10, maybe 12, and then you commit. You push in. Cyclones alongside Ravens. Remember, the disable is being researched. Yes, Bunny will have tanks, that is true, but just like what we saw from Cure, the tanks don't matter if you disable the tanks. Liberator in the main base, getting 3 SCV kills, trying to drag Bunny out of position. At the same time, drop comes into the natural. Clem forced to pull the boys. A lot of lost mining time. We get into the main base, but it looks like we come out just in time to defend the Raven. Raven takes some hits. Forced to spend its energy. That's a pretty big moment, as a Bunny does escape. But again, Clem, he just finished Interference Matrix, and he just wasted energy on one of those Ravens. So he's not going to be able to break this. Clem, he's transitioning, working towards his 3rd base. It's going to be landing into add-on swaps. And Clem, yeah, is going to be calming things down. And now I want to give the edge to Bunny. Like, Clem, he invested quite a lot into these Cyclones, and he has a fair amount. He's got 10. He has 10 Cyclones here. 3 Ravens, but he wasn't able to really make use of them. And this army, the quality of the army for Bunny is getting better and better, as he's got 2 tanks, soon to be 3. So he will have a substantial tank lead. Getting his 3rd base. Clem is moving out. He still has potential. His tanks looking a bit exposed. We can still disable them. Drop into the main is denied. Clem rotating around. There are 3 tanks on the low ground. Scan does reveal them.
Research complete.
Clem is aware. You see him moving out with his Ravens. Looks like he's going for auto start harass. He's not trying to break the base. It looks like he realizes he cannot break this position. Cyclone is here though. Gets a couple of auto turrets. He will kill 3 SCVs. Oh, pushes further in, and he's going to be punished. Losing a Raven. Loses a Raven. Cyclone into the main base. Getting a couple of SCVs. Trying to at least. We got 1. Ooh, 1 extra worker goes down for a Cyclone. Not worth it there for Clem. And Bunny's holding. He's holding quite nicely here. Meanwhile, Clem back at home has been happily making workers. Bunny has been bleeding out a couple of SCVs here and there. Clem hasn't. So Clem has an economic lead. Bunny's pushing. Oh, the tanks! Don't get caught out to be catching even more Cyclones. And we've got 5 tanks to the 2 of Clem. See Clem being proactive. Because Clem has less tanks, like, he needs to be proactive with this army and he needs to engage early on. He cannot lie back at home and allow Bunny to get within range and lay siege upon his 3rd or his natural. So Clem's trying to be active. Does spot the double drop towards the left. Clem, he rotates over. 4th CC on the way. Getting into 2-2 upgrades, combat shields, rest of our upgrades. As both armies scan each other. Bunny coming with some drops. Cyclones are in position. The medevac! One full medevac goes down, and we get a second medevac as well. Big pick offset by Clem. Very nicely done. He will lose the Cyclones, but I mean, that's a good trade if I've ever seen one. Again, the Cyclones, they kind of run out of value as the time goes on, as the game goes on. They're not really useful here in the main fight, so catching 2 medevacs, big plays. Suddenly, Bunny stuck back at home. Clem has map control. Clem landing his 4th base on location, and he's in position to deny the 4th of Bunny. 4th base on the way. Clem, he can stim in. Bunny not too far away though. Yeah, he's in position. Will defend his 4th. Okay, good movement out of Bunny. Clem reinforcing. Looking at our unit tab here, Clem still behind in those tanks, but only slightly. 6 to 8. Bunny does have a slight Raven lead, which is going to be important. But the Marine count heavily in favor of Clem. That's really his big advantage, is his Marines. That's a lot of Marines! How many? 74. Oh, he had 69 when I was checking earlier. 74 Marines. Bunny stepping forward. Sieging up his tanks, forcing back the Terran. Forcing back Clem. We can see behind this Clem working towards double starport into Viking, I imagine into Liberators. Big anti-armor missile, oh my god! Covering so many Marines. Clem, he cannot push in. Rotates around instead. Sieges up his tanks. Gets the counter anti-armor missile on Bunny. Tank shot's going to be going off from both players. A lot of Marines going down. Clem does have the Viking lead. Shuts down the Vikings. Zones away the medevacs. He has the air control. And he's going for a Doom drop. Bold move. Crazy move. Pulls back with his main army. Going for a drop into the main. Not much here to defend. No turrets whatsoever in the main base or the 3rd. But there's a turret spotting the drop. Forces it back. Bunny, he does hold. And both armies have maxed out. Now with these maxed out armies, what are we working with exactly? Once again, we do have a Marine lead here for Clem. Bunny, double the tank count. Oh my, how many tanks does he have? Jesus, 13 to 6. Double the tank count here for Bunny. We're up to 8 now, thankfully. And looking for another way in. Bunny a bit out of position here. We're going for the 4th. For the 4th, Bunny has to respond. Does get here in time. Takes down the Ravens. Sable does go off with Bunny. He does hold on to this position. At the same time, Clem does have another force on the right, but there's a tank sieged up. And Bunny, he's keeping up here. Does disable those tanks. Pushes on forward. Cleans up the tanks of Clem. Clem's being forced further and further back. Do bleed out some of these Vikings. At the same time, Clem pushes in into tank range. Bunny winning on both fronts, and you can see Clem plummet 50 supply. Oof. Both armies were maxed, no longer. Bunny still maxed out, keeps on pushing. Clem is in a bit of trouble. He is in trouble here. Again, as we mentioned, mass tank does scale better into the mid game, in towards the late game as well. We catch more tanks. 2 more go down. We have 12-3. Oh my god. 4 times the tanks here for Bunny. Leapfrogging forward. It gets us up with the CC as well. Just perpetually ahead here in tanks. We see Clem going for a massive counterattack instead. Gets a free tank. Goes for the CC. But Bunny, there's nothing slowing him down. There's nothing to stop him. The defensive tanks fall. The third base is being broken. So is the third of Bunny, to be fair. But this is just a double drop, and we have reinforcements back at him to defend. Bunny will survive. He even saves the CC. Does repair it. Meanwhile, Bunny, he just cuts Clem off from his 4th base. It's being shelled away out. Planetary goes down. Bunny loses 1 base. Clem loses 2. And Bunny is still maxed out. The Liberators have it right. We have freedom. We do have some freedom. Hot pick up there from Bunny. Very nice moves. From our Blue Terran. Gonna be sieging up. We still on forward as well. Clem trying to engage with those tanks. Unable to though. Again, the Liberators are nice, but I don't know if they're gonna be enough. Ooh, oh my god! Massive tank shots go off. Bunny overextending. Has to be careful. Clem still has a 3rd base up and running. Is heavily oversaturated though. Clem doing what he can, bleeding out another tank. It's gonna be a kill on that CC. Bunny just trying to starve Clem out. Denying these bases, focusing down 2 more libs. And Bunny, he's going for the final mining base. He's going for the planetary. Clem is distracted. He doesn't see. He's out of position. Clem, he's racing on over. This planetary is so exposed. Okay, we still on forward. We dive on top of the tanks. Oh, we don't quite. We get 1. We get 2. We get both tanks. We get the planetary. Clem knocked down to 2 bases. Barely any mining. Nothing here in the main base. Landing here at the 3rd, at the 4th location. Desperation move here from Clem. Migrating over towards these southern bases. He's still trying to hold his own. Bunny rotating around. Again, maxed out. Range drop does rock up here at the soon-to-be planetary. Once it morphs in, yeah, we can defend. We'll hold. Yeah, 1 tank is all we need. We get a couple of SCVs, but Bunny, he can afford to lose some workers. Not the biggest of losses. Bunny, he still has those Ravens alive, by the way. Still has up to 4 Ravens. It rotates around, it gets onto the orbital, and Clem cannot defend. Ooh, that is going to be a kill. You see Clem just perpetually stuck at home. I mean, it's impressive what he's able to do with these drops. Has been getting some damage done. Bunny, I just rotates back around. All he has to do is make sure that Clem doesn't get a 4th base. Pushing into a tank line is always difficult, even if you have tank lead. That's a lot of tanks for Clem. He's been just making 2 tanks at a time, up to 11 tanks. Slowly building it back up. There's 2 factories going ham. Can we recover? Can we max out? I think we can. obviously Bunny has a bank, so Bunny, he can trade, he can fight, he can take a bad fight even and just remax. Clem can't. Clem, anything he makes, he's just spending immediately on more tanks and Vikings. So Clem, he's attempting to stabilize, and he almost has maxed, and he will have a chance, definitely. The problem here is that Clem can't push out. So Bunny should be doing this. He should be mass expanding. Just taking more bases, taking the entire map under his control. Because Clem is turtling, I don't think we can break him, to be honest. I think the best move for Bunny here is either push in towards a 4th or wait for Clem to try to take a 5th. That's going to be the play here for Bunny. Just mass expand and wait for Clem to move out. Because eventually Clem will move out to expand. And that's the moment the Bunny needs. As Clem, he has remaxed here. Getting up to 200 supply. Marine drop is moving out. Bunny has to be careful. Clem is a bit of a faster play, but yo, we're going for a June drop into the natural. So Clem, though, has some units in position. Has a couple of turrets. We're going in! We're going for the drop. Tank's going to be unloading, but nah, Clem, he should be able to deal with this. Losing his Marines. We may get on top of some Liberators as well. But Clem will hold at the same time. Bunny pushing in. Bold move here from Bunny. Massive stable here on the tanks. Tanks are going down. Bunny, he barely breaks through. Oh, but alas, he cannot get onto the 4th base. And the Vikings. Oh my god. The Vikings going ham here, taking down Ravens. Very efficient trade by Clem. And Bunny is burning through his bank. He needs gases. Uh-oh. He needs to saturate these gases here towards the top right. He needs more gases towards the right-hand side as well. Bunny still has yet to take these bases. Clem is back in this. Like, again, Bunny, he has a 2k gas bank, but nothing in minerals. Clem catching some tanks. Ooh. Gets a medevac even. Not quite the tanks. Again, the mass Viking doing so well for him. 14 Vikings. Liberators pushing forward to Clem, and now in the midst of taking a 5th base. Fifth base is being taken. Clem will establish it. Ooh, 5 SCVs go down. Bunny not mining. He needs this base. And another. Like I mentioned before, we need to be double expanding. We need to take the entire map. He's going to be expanding here towards the bottom left. I wasn't expecting this base, but sure. Does need a mine from it. There we go. So he's getting oversaturated. Needs... Sorry, doesn't need gases. I don't know why I was mentioning that. Needs minerals. I know I was saying that he has an abundance of gases and pointing out he doesn't have any. It's early in the morning, okay? I meant to say he just needs to expand. I don't know where my brain was going. Regardless, Clem is in this. Took a good fight earlier, can take another. Doesn't need to prioritize gases. Does need minerals though. Just to clarify. Going back into Viking production, how many Vikings are we up to? 17! Ooh, comparable Viking counts. Upgrades are comparable as well. +1 ship weapons quite late here for Clem. It's late, but I don't blame him just because of this game. Just because like it has been a really rough road here for Clem. He hasn't had the spare resources for upgrades. So Bunny has the upgrade lead. But it's going to be about the engage. Here we go. Clem pushing through the center. Both armies keeping up with each other. We're going for the turrets. Fusion core on the way here for Bunny. Basically, Bunny refining his army, getting into tank, eventually lib, tank Viking lib. So in the mid game, it's all about the tanks. In the late game, it's all about the air control. It's all about the Viking lib, essentially. Into eventually BC in the very late game. Tanks are sieging. Vikings push in. Liberator has siege. And we are committing big anti-armor missile here on Clem. And Bunny, he takes a fight, shuts down the Viking, shuts down the Liberator as well. Oh, at the same time, Clem, he snuck out with the triple drop, with the Doom drop. Gets a CC. Gets a base, goes into the main base, came with the production. Clem, he breaks free. And Bunny, ooh, does pull back home. Has to reposition. Bunny now has +2 ship weapons. The Marines are cleaned up. At this point, it's all about the positional battle. Positional play here. Natural base being lifted, landed as a 6th. 6th base is on the way for Clem. Meanwhile, Liberator harass here, denying mining at these fringe bases. Bunny's on the way. Now, what's scary here is that Bunny, he can deal with this lib and then he can keep pushing and deal with this base. There's 3 tanks and 1 lib to defend. In this moment, Clem, I was going to say he should counterattack and try to hit this base, but it looks like he's going to be responding. Oh, he has to make a decision. Do we come back home? We will, but it's going to be too late. The base will fall. Yeah, Clem out of position, didn't know where the army was. It's going to be a kill in the orbital. By the time Clem gets here, Bunny can retreat. Does engage with those Vikings. Vikings going to be going ham. Again, in favor of Clem. Clem, he's up to 23 Vikings against the 13 of Bunny. Bunny has to back off. Plus 3 ship weapons on the way for Bunny. Making 7 Vikings at a time. Bunny going to be expanding, taking another base. Clem just lost one. 6th base has been taken. Bunny now knows. He had no idea earlier. Didn't know the base was operational. The tanks! No! Tanks are getting caught out. Who catches who? Oh, 1 tank goes down. Marines 8 dive on top of the tanks. Boys are being pulled. Vikings, once again, they will engage. Big anti-armor missile here on Clem. But he has the numbers on his side. And he will still take the fight. Clem, he wins the battle in the air. Still up in Vikings. Oh, Bunny cannot take this fight. Yeah, he does engage prematurely. At the same time, though, Clem did bleed out a lot of tanks. Bled out a lot of units. Oh, even here. We'll try to maintain this position. Taking down another tank. Bunny remaxing. Again, Bunny, he has the better economy. Does they come in? They get a Viking. They do barely get another Viking. Does have a new fresh mining base, that is true. But he's broke. Like, he still needs more minerals, more resources. And the problem is that this is the final base, essentially. Unless Clem can somehow take this northern base. If Clem can get this up and running, then he can still sustain himself. Viking harass, bottom left. Oh, he's within range. I thought that was a Liberator. It was a Viking. Clem still with the Viking lead. Does push forward. Still only with +1 ship weapons. Oh, SCVs are going down. A big drop here, and just like that, Clem, he has no economy, no mining. His final mining base goes down. Big pick up there by Bunny. And Clem, he's got half a base left. Half a base remaining. No mining whatsoever because of that Liberator. And Bunny has done it. It wasn't easy. I mean, Bunny, he took a massive lead earlier. He was ahead in this game. And we saw Clem claw his way back in. Clem, he was down like 80 supply. Like, it was like the supply disparity was insane, but he was able to turtle. He was able to turtle up, stabilize on 3 bases, get a 4th, get a 5th, eventually get a 6th base as well. Very impressive that Clem was able to turtle up until that point, but the advantage of Bunny was still persisting throughout it. That map control, the bases, the economy here, all in favor of Bunny. And he was able to leverage that into this, into what should be a win. Clem going for a counterattack, catching a base, getting a planetary, but this is the last mining here that Clem has. And it's about to go down. Bunny's also losing a planetary, but Bunny has the center base, he has top right, like Bunny can still freely expand. He still has center left as well. So much more mining available. I mean, Clem is going for that base, but Bunny's coming back. He's coming back. He wants to collapse on this position. Big tank shots going off. But Bunny's coming. He's on the way. The final stand here of Clem. Pig disables here on the tanks. We collapse in the position. The Marines, the boys are being pulled. The tanks get swallowed up. GG gets called, and Bunny will take game number 1. GG. Oh, what a game 1 as well. Again, Bunny was able to take a massive lead early on. He was in the driver's seat for so much of this game, but Clem refused to die. And again, the power of defensive tanks and liberators as well. Clem, he rushed into libs, he rushed into air control, into Mass Viking, and Clem was able to survive, able to hold on, eventually stabilize, or in a way stabilize, eventually hold on to his bases, mass expand. He was able to hold on, but was never able to really gain control back from Bunny, as Bunny was able to just maintain that. Barely is what I should say. Barely. Couple too many bad fights and a couple more mistakes from Bunny, and that would have cost him the game, which would have been an insane comeback from Clem. Would have been crazy. Regardless, GG, well played. What a game 1, and I'm ready to sink my teeth into game number 2. Now, Koreans have a reputation, especially some of the more aggressive Koreans like Maru. Even Cure has been doing this recently, where after an insane, after a tense, long macro game, especially in a TVT, they are more than willing to proxy. We're going to be getting ready for game number 2. Bunny, now with the lead in this series, do we proxy racks? We'll find out. We'll see. Let's go. Let us go. So loading into that second game. Easy by Cyril. Cyril isn't here. It's a TVT pack. Terran versus Terran. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have our South Korean Terran player. The blue Terran representing Mystery Gaming. Leading the series 1-0. It is Bunny. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Terran player representing Team Liquid. Down in this series, he has to win here and now to force the ace match. It is Clem. Let's go. Let's go. Terran OP, true. TVT, unwinnable. Unwinnable, Bobby. As Bunny does not move out with his SCV, he does not go for a proxy, is going for something a lot more standard here. Likewise, if you remember, winding it back to game number 1, Clem also went for an early SCV scout to get a read on what was going on. My apologies, I assumed this was a scout, but it is not. Bunny is going for a double gas opener, Clem going for a 2 racks, going for a proxy second racks here. Now, this is a little bit unfortunate for Clem. We've been in this position before. We casted a TVT yesterday. With Clem, actually. With Clem. We had a very similar situation. I think it was Clem versus Oliveira, where Clem was praying for an economic opener, but it isn't. Double gas means faster factory, means faster Hellion or even Cyclone production. This 2-racks Reaper here ideally is designed to come in and kill some workers, delay the CC, maybe even delay the factory and out-trade your opponent. Sorry, it was Cure. It was Cure who was able to use this to great success and win against Bunny. It was actually, we casted to Cure versus Bunny. And Cure, he snowballed out of control. We'll see if Clem can do the same. See if Clem can replicate that success. Reapers are on the way. Factory in production. Bunny is going to be scouting with this Reaper at least the third base location, looking for a proxy. Sees that there is none. He's going a little bit further. He does come across the racks. Good scout here from Bunny. Does see, is aware. Because of the high ground, Clem doesn't know he got scouted. And Bunny is going to be able to chill out back at home. CC on the high ground. We should be getting a Hellion. Yep, Hellion is on the way. It's faster than the Cyclone. Ooh, but Bunny does get surrounded. Oh! And he'll be losing one of his Reapers. Meanwhile, gets the Reaper of Clem. Trading 1 for 1. A better trade for Bunny. Clem bleeding out a Reaper. Not a good start. And he's transitioning. He is transitioning back at home. Factory is on the way. He's trying to get out of this. Hellion has arrived. Bunny has to be careful to overextend. Cyclone in production. Not the best positioning there from Bunny. Wasn't quite on the high ground. Reapers, they get in. Step into the main base to delay the CC. Good damage done here by Clem. When Clem, he is trapped. Does trade 1 for 1 once again, but will lose this Reaper. Or should lose this Reaper. Yeah, the Cyclone has arrived. Now, at least he disrupted some of the production here, and looking at the resources lost, he was able to kill one SCV. I thought he killed a little bit more than that, so not the best start here for Clem. Bunny, he defends, he gets his base up and running. He will have the economic lead as Clem is still building up his own CC. And Bunny following this up with a Cyclone drop. Now, as scary as Cyclone drops can be, Clem should have enough at home to defend. Reactor on that factory, making 2 Cyclones at a time. By the time Bunny gets across the map, Clem should have enough to defend. Hopefully Bunny doesn't lose too much here in the process. Here we go. Cyclone drop moving out. Clem gonna be scouting with the racks. Let's go. Checking, just focusing on Cyclone production. Drop is coming in. Clem, he sees it ahead of time thanks to his Overlord or his floating racks. Let's go. And it looks like, yeah, he will force Bunny the hell out of there. Clem wants to try to chase this down. Oh. Does try to intercept. Bunny, will he escape? No! Does get locked on. We'll have to unload and the medevac will fall. Ay. Bunny, big loss there for him. Behind this, going straight for the third TC. Third TC is on the way. Getting Cyclones, getting into Raven production. Likewise, so is Clem. Not too far behind with his own third TC. It's on the way. Just now starting as Bunny's is finishing. At least it is on the way here. Clem is going for his drop. Does defend back at home. Working towards Stim, so it is going to be Biotank here from Clem. Bunny likewise going Biotank as well. No mech. We spoke about this earlier, but you know, mech is typically more of a stylistic choice here in TVT. We've seen players like TY, Gumiho, Ryung. They're typically the players that embrace mech in this matchup. Not so much Bunny and Clem. As we are moving out. So once again we have this interesting dynamic where Bunny has gone for faster tank production, which is exactly what he did in game 1, and Bunny wasn't punished. Like, Clem wasn't able to make use of these Cyclones, if you remember, on Oceanborn. He was stuck with like 10 Cyclones and couldn't do anything with them. He did catch some drops, if you remember. That was like the most he was able to accomplish. He caught 2 full medevacs. Ooh, Raven's coming in for some harass. which means they are not at home to defend. SCVs are going down. A lot of damage being dealt. Ay, ay, ay. We got 7 SCV kills, 8 SCVs. Gonna get even more. 9 SCVs go down. And Clemmy does turn back with at least his drop. Just like that, Bunny does take an economic lead. Should soon be landing his third base. Clem taking his own. Is going to be taking his own here. Bunny shouldn't be too far behind him. It's going to be difficult just because of these Ravens. Remember, they can disable, and Bunny, Clem can try to dive on this, as Stim isn't done. So Bunny slowly leapfrogging forward. It gets within range. And coming back in with his drops. There we go. Clem is going to back off, which means Bunny, he will expand. Raven harass and Cyclone drop into the main base. Meanwhile, Bunny does avoid the Cyclones of Clem. And there's nothing to defend. The main base completely exposed. SCVs are going down. Massive damage here from Clem. At the same time, Cyclones have been spotted. 12 SCVs. We get 12 workers in the main base. We try to collapse on this army, but Clemmy escapes with everything. Does get away with those Ravens and Cyclones. At the same time, trying to catch some reinforcements. Meanwhile, Bunny going for his own drop. Ooh, with tanks. Bold move here. Tanks, they do siege up. Boys are being cooled. How much damage can we get? Good volleys. Massive volleys here. 13 SCVs go down. But Clem still maintains his worker lead because of that faster third base. Bunny still behind. And he did throw away 2 tanks. Wait. Oh. And with that, Bunny, he does lose a lot of his tank lead. He does, it's just straight up. He does lose his tank lead in the end. Clem is pushing. Clem now with a larger army. Bunny trying to punish that drop, wasn't able to. Ooh. Clem has to be careful though. Again, we do have the high ground. Bunny does have the defense advantage. Tanks are sieging up. How many tanks do we have? 4. 4 tanks for Bunny. Ravens breaking forward. He is up in Ravens. Oh, we're going for a Doom drop instead. The scan does reveal it. Does reveal the Doom drop. Clem, he does unload just outside of the range of that scan, which means Bunny, he's out of position. He's looking for the drop. Okay, he does pull back. Does pull back. Yeah, big disables here on the tanks. We stim on forward. We focus down the tanks. 1 goes down. Good anti-armor missile. Clem, he barely has enough. He has a better call game. No, he's being forced back. Again, the counter disables of the tanks of Clem. Bunny, he is holding, and he does get himself with the tanks. Yeah, they all go down. Big cleanup there by Bunny. Very close defense. You can see how low these tanks got, but they survived. And Bunny holds. Bunny holds on. Clem is forced back. Now, you can see Clem plummet in supply. That is true. Bunny has a supply lead, but Clem is up in SCVs. He's up in economy, up in workers. That means that Clem, he will be able to remax faster. Bunny still has to he still has to build up his worker count. So Clem is going to be able to catch back up. Not going to take him too long. 4th base on the way. Do we have a 4th CC here? We do not for Bunny. No 4th base whatsoever. We are pushing. We are quite committed. Bunny may have seen the 4th just barely. He does confirm the 4th base. Is aware. Bunny is moving out. Bunny does have the supply lead. But again, Bunny does not have a 4th CC. He needs to break a base. He needs to break a base, otherwise Clem is going to get out of control. Disables one of the tanks. And with the higher Marine count, he's going to be able to hold on. Another tank goes down though. Bunny running out of Marines. Runs out of Marines, runs out of pushing power, but he does get him to the fourth base. No shot. Who needs a fourth when you just kill your opponents? That was the big advantage that Clem had. No longer. No longer has a fourth base now starting up here for Bunny. Comes in with the double drop, pulling Clem apart. Heading into the main base as well. Bunny rotating over towards the third. Trying to come in with a second attack. It looks like Bunny is being cleaned up at the same time he's committing. And big close up here on the Marines. Tanks repositioning. We are within range of the CC. Not the best anti-armor missile there from Bunny, but regardless, he's containing Clem here to 2 bases. Denying that third. Clem has a response. Doom drop. He knows he cannot break the main army. Bunny also getting into the main. Gets back into the main base. Gets himself a Liberator. Liberator does fall. Eventually, Bunny's going to be cleaned up at the same time. Ooh, Bunny has to be careful to overextend. Clem comes in across the map. Even in upgrades. Yeah, Clem being dragged into tank fire. His force back did kill more workers, to kill 12 LCVs. But Clem, he's oversaturated, he's stuck on 2 bases. Bunny about to expand, about to take a 4th base as well. We gotta go. The economy of Clem not looking too hot right now. But he has a massive army. We're up to 9 tanks. 46 Marines. Ahead in tanks, ahead in Marines. I believe ahead in Vikings. No, sorry, even in Vikings as well. Neither player has any Ravens. So we're killed earlier. No spellcasters, no finesse. It's all about the positional play. Clem looking for a way in. Bunny catching a couple of transferring workers or long distance mining workers. And pulling back. Pushing his way in. Ooh. Oh my god, he is going to be cleaned up though. Did overextend. 4th base has been spotted. Clem is going for it. Going for the 4th. Bunny out of position. It is a big moment. Clem, he doesn't just get the 4th base, he also gets up the ramp. Clem is on even footing. That's going to be a kill on the 4th. Again, Bunny late to react, or no reaction. At the same time, we're going into the 3rd. Tanks are in position. Boys are being pulled. A lot of friendly fire. Only 4 SCVs go down. That was a big moment there. And killing that base does pull back. Again, this is still very tense. On an even economy, for the most part. I'm still with the supply lead. I think this is a combat shield game. Oh, is it? It is. Oh, I remember the end of this. True. Bunny, no combat shields. Oh god, yeah. I remember they spoke about it. They briefly showed this on the mainstream. They didn't show game 1 and game 2, but on the mainstream they showed game 3. Not like this. Yeah, I was watching from the crowd. Bunny stimming on forward. Collapse on this, takes down both of those tanks. Good move here out of Bunny. Takes down tanks, does fall back. But yeah, there's no combat shields here from Bunny. And considering how close this is, that's insane. Oh my god. You see Bunny catching a couple of Marines here in the center of the map. Tank out in favor of Clem. Clem establishing his fourth. Picking up his main, getting the fourth that way. Maintaining his economy. Bunny behind this. Oh, hasn't quite done the same. Still stuck on 3 bases. Bunny falling behind in the economy. Despite his higher worker count. Going for a doom job. Moving out on the right hand side. Heading out towards that main base. Minimal towers here, by the way, for Clem. Only has the one. But he does get spotted. Force one load. Medevac goes down. You don't quite get a tank. Don't quite get it here. This Bunny is being forced back. Yeah, Bunny does technically have the supply lead, going for a split push, has an army on the right, moving out towards the left, once again going for the doom drop. These medevacs, they're so low though. Oh my god, very risky move here out of Bunny. Trying to pull away the attention of Clem. Medevac going in. Oh, sorry, turret going in. Doesn't quite get any medevacs. We do camp the production. We get into the main base. Sword move here out of Bunny. At the same time, doesn't find a way in towards the left-hand side. But he takes down some of these Raxes. Ooh, Marines did overextend. A big chunk of them go down. At the same time, Bunny catches some tanks. Big moment here. 3 tanks go down. The Vikings, they land as well. And can we clean all this up? Oh my god, Bunny! You got what, 6 tanks? Jesus. Shuts down the tanks here in the center. Takes down, what, 3, 4 Raxes in the main. We even up the tank counts. Clem ahead in Marines. Ahead in Vikings. Base getting up and running here for Bunny. Getting another Rax. Even laying siege upon the mineral line from the high ground. SCVs are going down. Bunny gets his own 4th base up and running as well. Did pick up and land his main. And picking up and landing is natural as well. Meanwhile, Clem heavily supplied locked here. Losing some of those depots. Bunny mustering up his army on the right hand side. He wants to collapse on this 3rd. Does want that 3rd base. Actually going to be reinforcing with some medevacs. And these tanks, they're going to be going down. The carpet bombing here on these tanks. 1, 2 tanks going to be going down. It looks like, can we break this position? Boys are being pulled. The CC, it's so low. 1 more volley. The repairs are too good. And Clem holds. He holds on. There's no Marines here. There's no way to support the tanks, and we will clean this up. Clem taking a massive supply lead, cleans up the tanks, pushes on forward. He breaks free. Oh god. Still has to respect the tanks. Has to respect them. Does hold on to this 4th base. Still has his Vikings. Picks up. Ready to drop on the tanks. Oof. Does get 1, does get barely not the 2nd tank. It's Bunny desperately expanding here towards the north. Bunny barely with a better economy, but he has so much to recover from. He's down to 3 tanks compared to the 11 of Clem. Clem clawing his way back in once again. Very similar to game 1, for example, where game 1, Clem just refused to die for so long and almost bounced back. This time here, he is bouncing back. Like he's goes for a double drop towards the left. Nothing quite in position to defend. Ooh, does catch a whole mineral line. SCVs are going down. 13 SCVs. Pick up, headed to the main. Red hearts. Full medevac goes down, but so far it has been worth it. Crippling the economy. As CranKy has landed another base. Lib comes in. Just CranKy just with the mass harassment here. Bringing Bunny down to 38 SCVs. Scanning, trying to get an eye on the economy. On the army positioning. Vikings, they come in, they shut down the medevac. Not bad pickups here by Bunny. We scan, we get eyes on the fresh mining base of Clem as well. Oh, not a good feeling here for Bunny as he's catching back up in supply, but CranKy does come across this fourth base. The fifth even. Yeah, Bunny out of position. No tanks here with inside. The base is going to go down. The SCVs as well. There's no escaping. There's no way out. Again, Bunny, he's just caught. He's just spread too thin. Doesn't have the supply to defend. Didn't have the vision. It's going to be 19 dead SCVs. Bunny down to 23 workers. Barely a base mining, essentially, for Bunny. And we're sending it. We see the army. We know we cannot fight this. We send it across the map instead to cause some more chaos. You have a lot of tanks here to defend on the right-hand side, but it looks like we will get a kill on this orbital. Third base goes down. Bunny's team going forward. We could try to camp the production. There are tanks on the high ground. Oof. Yeah, we cannot push in. Big volleys there on Bunny. Scans looking for another base. Gets another tank, but he's taking so many shots to the face. So many tank shots. Clem's turning back around. Late reaction out of Clem is what I will say. But Bunny is all in. He's completely all in at this point. Denies 2 bases, which is good. But this is all we have left. This is all we do have left. Oh, Bunny, again, trying to engage. Does have a lib. Does force Clem back. And tanks are cheating. Bunny, he can miss. He'll be losing all of his Marines. And Bunny was so close in this game. Clem once again going for another backstab, going for another Marine run by. Getting more SCVs. We barely had an economy to begin with. We're down to 19 workers. The base goes down. GG gets called, and Clem ties up the series 1-1. GG. Oh my god. This is an insane TVT. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match, and again, as was pointed out in the chat, if you weren't watching live, essentially what happened, during the IEM Katowice broadcast, during the main event, I did mention that here, as we're going over the replays, we are avoiding the games that were played on the mainstream. We're avoiding the games that were casted on the mainstream. But because the mainstream was a little bit ahead of schedule, every now and then they would poke their head into a series. They wouldn't commit, but like every now and then they'd have a look at what was happening on the side streams, on the B stream and C stream, and they would stick around for a little bit. Maybe they would finish covering a game if they had the time for it. Sometimes they would just tune in for like a couple of minutes and then tune out. And this was one of those games that was featured on the mainstream, basically the last like 5 minutes of that game. They tuned into the last 5 minutes, and everyone saw that, yes, Bunny did forget combat shields. That was a big moment, and everyone came to the conclusion, and of course we should as well, that Bunny, if he hadn't forgotten combat shields, considering how long that game went, considering how close it was, considering how many fights were involving Marines as well, and how many tank shots were going off. And again, it's one of those things where combat shields would have impacted that game quite heavily. And there's a world out there where Bunny 2-0s, right? Bunny was already leading the series. There's a world out there where he 2-0s Clem here and now. If only he hadn't forgotten that upgrade. So that's a pretty big blunder there by Bunny, a pretty big misstep, unfortunately. I'm sure he was told after the series and after the fact, maybe after the tournament. It isn't typically something that you do want to bring up to a player like when they're competing, because you don't want to throw them off. You don't want to like make them smudge or anything. Again, I obviously Bunny didn't realize it during the game, and probably not getting into game 2 either. But yeah, GG, well played. With that, Clem does tie things up 1-1, and now we're getting into the ace match, getting into game number 3. Let's go. Just catching up in the chat. Bunny must have been so tunnel vision. I mean, I don't blame him, right? Like, considering how this series has played out so far, if you were here for game 1 and now game 2, it's been really intense. It's been a very intense series. It's been very close, especially after Oceanborn, where Bunny was like winning and so far ahead, and Clem was clawing his way back in. I'm sure this is just a very tense situation, a very tense series, and I'm sure Bunny, like, again, like, is hyper fixated and hyper focused and probably stressed out in this series. And yeah, it can be easy to have something like that slip your mind and just forget about, which is unfortunate. And he was playing really well. Like, that's how crazy it is, right? Like, the game was so incredibly close, and of course Bunny had his certain advantages despite that upgrade disadvantage. Crazy, Bunny, crazy. Regardless, GG, well played. We're getting into the ace match. We're getting into game number 3. Let's go. But yeah, at the time the mainstream, they did dip into the end of game 2. I don't think they touched game 3, or maybe they got into it a little bit. But that's why we're covering it here and now. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alcyone, we have our French Terran player, our ESL Masters Winter Champion, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Mystery Gaming. Ooh, being forced into the ace match, unfortunately forgetting combat shields in the last game after a very long, brutal game. Hopefully we can tighten things up here in the ace match. It is Bunny. Here we go. Fun fact, Bunny has pretty good English. He used to stream, I think he streams every now and then on Twitch, but he used to stream more often, and he's got pretty good English. Especially, you know, compared to some of the other Korean Terrans out there, or Korean players out there in general. It's pretty good. I think I would put him up there alongside, maybe not as good as Stats' as English. I know obviously Solo has the best English. I think Stats would have the second best English, and just under them maybe Bunny and Shin and Hero. I think maybe Bunny is slightly higher English than Hero and Shin. I think. Maybe. But it does interact from time to time to his chat. When he did stream. Here we go. Once again, every game in this series, double gas opener out of Bunny, double gas out of Clem. This time Clem not risking it with a proxy. No proxy racks out of our red Terran player. That is how game 2 started. Started with the proxy 2 racks. Bunny was able to defend. Able to shut it down. We will be settling into game 3. And it's been very back and forth so far. In general, Bunny has been looking to be more in form in this series. Even the game that Clem won was slightly because of the mistakes here of Bunny. But likewise, over the course of the series, can Clem tighten up his own early game as well? I feel like his early game has been what's been lacking a little bit here. What's been faltering. As Reapers are going to be clashing. Bunny being forced back. As Clem does come out on top in this trade. Bunny does have to respect that Reaper will retreat. Behind this, we're getting into Cyclone production. As to be expected. Should be getting into the reactor here on the Raxus, into an add-on swap, into drop play. Just the new standard here in our modern TVT in the new patch. Do mention it, there it is. The reactors are on the way. Clem going to be slipping into that natural base. He wants the SCV. He will not get it. Good defense here from Bunny. Does kill one of those Reapers. Saves his own as well. Very nicely done. Bunny will chase Clem back. Ooh. Barely saving that Reaper as well. Once again. So a good start here by Bunny. A better start for Bunny. Clem with a slight deficit. Losing the Reaper isn't the biggest of deals, but again, he was hoping to get some value for it as he's being forced back, and we are getting into our 2-base saturation. Natural bases are finishing up for both players. Clem has to reposition his zone, so it's going to be a little bit later. Does lift and land. There's Yad on top. Cyclone production well underway for both players, and we are settling into Cyclone versus Cyclone. Let's go. First drop is moving out for Bunny. Drop is moving out for Clem. The Medivacs, I believe, will miss each other, or will they scout each other? Up. It's going to be close, and they barely do get a glimpse of each other. We do see Bunny react. He does react to the drop. He's pulling back home. Meanwhile, Clem, he commits. And how much damage does Clem get? Cyclones, they have arrived. One SCV goes down. We're going for the Medivac, and it will escape. Again, Bunny unfortunately dropping on the right-hand side. Wasn't able to chase Clem down, but he wants to. He's going for the intercept. He's trying to cut Clem off. Clem, he boosts in. Bunny, he does get eyes on the Medivac, and he wants it. He will not get it. Oh. Yes, Clem, he does get into the dead zone, into the dead space. Out of range of those Cyclones, coming in with his own. And Bunny has to be careful not to overextend. Clem, he's going for it. Medivac does go down. Good juggling here out of Bunny, but alas, he will lose the Medivac, lose the Cyclones, and Bunny, he did overextend. The Raven under fire. Autotar coming in clutch. Very shaky trade there from both players. We do pick up another Cyclone. Bunny barely coming out on top. Both players lost their Medivacs. Both players lost 4 of their Cyclones. At the same time, Reaper slips into the main base. CC is delayed. It does get back up and running. Whew. So a pretty even trade. A pretty even trade when it comes to the Cyclone battle. It was a knife fight, but we trade 4 for 4. Both players lose their Medivacs. Bunny does have a much faster third base. It's almost done. Clem knows that. Clem, his own third, still barely getting up and running. So Bunny will be able to recover when it comes to his economic losses, his dead SCVs. We'll be able to make up for that. Meanwhile, the game will calm down from there. The game will settle down. Cyclone still amassing for both players. 6 on both sides. 6 on both sides. And we'll see where we stop Cyclones. We scan into the main, we get eyes on the 3rd TC. So Bunny has to be feeling pretty good about this. The fact that his base is so much faster than his opponent's. And Bunny knows all he has to do is defend. All he has to do is defend and survive and get away with the better economy. Clem going to be landing his own 3rd CC on location before it's even morphed into an orbital. Aware that he has to try to play catch-up. Likewise, he is in position. Getting up to 4 Ravens. Has an extra Raven over Bunny. He is moving out. is moving out across map. Bunny in positioning on the high ground. Does spot the move out as Bunny had controlled the Zonaga. And Ravens, they're going for some auto turret harass. They're going for the main. SCV does spot them. Big scout there by Bunny. Scan reveals the army. Clem pushing in. Scan also reveals Clem. Both players keeping up with each other. Auto turret thrown down. The Ravens are deflected. But they're coming back in. They're waiting out those auto turrets. We do come back in. And the middle line is under fire. Ooh, the tank as well. The tank is going to be focused down. Big pickoffs here by Clem. Killing 5 SCVs. And not losing a single Raven. He still has plenty of energy left. And yeah, he's just going to town. Bunny refusing to rotate just because of these Cyclones. They're just keeping Bunny pinned. They're keeping Bunny pinned here at this third base. And we got 6 SCV kills and a tank. Clem, he's now ahead. He gets ahead economically. Up almost 10 workers, or up 10 workers. Almost 11. Bunny trying to reestablish himself. Rejoining. Behind this bio tank. Again, we're done with Cyclones. We're done with Cyclone production, getting into tanks instead. Now, what I will say, even though Bunny did take a lot of damage, we're on Alkion. I haven't spoken about the map yet, but the map is very macro-oriented. If you thought it was easy, or if you thought it was difficult to push into 4 bases on Oceanborn, mate, you got nothing coming here. On Alkion, you can take the 4th, you can take the 5th. A very defendable 5-base setup here. Even taking a 6th base thereafter. We could be in for another long one, which I would not be opposed to. It's been a pretty long series already. Very long mid to late game play from both Bunny and Clem. Bunny, he has combat shields, by the way. Just to confirm. Clem also working on his own. Bunny moving out. Gets caught by a Marine. Clem, he sees the army, rotates over. Scan does confirm. Bunny at the same time ready for a drop. Unless he will bleed out a Cyclone. Someone for recatch 2. Pick up 2 Cyclones. We back off at the same time. Bunny is going into the main base. There is a turret. There are Marines in position. Clem, he is ready for the drop. So he moves out across the map. Spotted by the Zonaga. Bunny knows. That's his trigger to move in. As Clem moves out, Bunny moves in. But again, Clem is in position. He denies the drops. Medevacs are forced back. Likewise, Bunny doesn't commit on the left. And Clem, he pulls back in the center. So just a lot of posturing, a lot of repositioning between our players. No one committing. As everyone's keeping up with everyone. But Bunny doesn't have the Zonaga anymore. And Clem is actually pushing. Scan does reveal it. Bunny knows. Likewise, Stims in. Bunny moving out towards the left-hand side. Cyclone gets picked up. Bunny, he does come across the base. CC under fire. Clem racing back home. Tanks are out of position. And that's going to be a kill on the base. We drop into the main. Bunny, he finds a way in. He pulls Clem apart. Forcing him back left and right. We're going for the tanks in the middle. They on siege. A big on siege there from Clem. Likewise, the counter disables. Anti-armor still here. It looks like Clem, he barely has enough. He breaks through. He has the overwhelming Marine army. Clem, he may have lost the base. He may have lost 15 SCVs, but he has the Marine count to back it up. And Clem is pushing. Bunny, that was a brutal fight. It didn't look too bad initially for Bunny, but he just didn't have the Marine count. And Clem, he moves his way out across the map. He will take down the 3rd. They're gonna get a kill on the orbital. Bunny's still on 3 bases. His economy is still good. But the army is what matters. Clem, double the army supply of his opponents. Gets another disable off. Boys are being pulled. They have to be. Bunny, This is his final stand. His Marines go down, his SCVs as well, and Clem, he has done it. He bounces back in this series. Struggling in game 1, even struggling a little bit in game number 2. But here in game 3, he has found his stride. Much more dominant performance, takes down the natural. 40 SCVs go down, and cuts Bunny off from his third, from the planetary. He is going for it. And collapses on the base. Bunny coming in from behind. He wants those tanks. Gets one. Gets a handful of tanks. Gets all of them. But what about the Marines? As Clem, he sims on forward. Makes his way through those Marines. Gets on top of the tank as well. And it's just a numbers game at this point. Bunny, he's down to one mining base. Half a mining base, if that. GG gets called, and Clem will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Clem for taking the series, for bouncing back, for clawing his way back into this. My condolences to Bunny. We mentioned that he had a solid game 1, and even in game number 2, there's a world where Bunny wins that. If only he hadn't forgotten combat shields. I'm curious, once we wrap up with the series, with our next series, once we wrap up with Group B, I'm actually going to have a look at the group. I'm really curious if the score were different, if Bunny had 2-0'd, would he have made it out of the group? Would Clem have not made it out of the group? I'm gonna check later. Oh god, I am curious. Regardless, congratulations here. Congratulations to Clem for taking down Bunny 2-1, and does secure himself in Group B. Meanwhile, we have another series ahead of us here. We have a final best of 3 to end the night, to end the broadcast. It's going to be a Terran versus Protoss, Stats versus Cure. It's going to be Stats versus Cure here, the final series of the group. Again, Stats has been having a hard time here in this group. Big reason for that, of course, Stats. He's not a full-time player. Did qualify for IEM, still a strong player, don't get me wrong. Did go to the ace match against Oliveira, at least. But Stats, he is one of the weaker players in this group, has been struggling. We'll see if he can redeem himself. We'll see if he can make up for it here against Cure. As Cure is looking to come out of this group as well. Here we go. He would have, I think. Spurge. We'll check after. But now, we're spawning in. We're loading into game 1 of our final series here on Site Delta. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Site Delta, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, the returning ex-military Protoss. It is Stats. As Cure, hello Bobby, is sending his SCV across the map as we speak. We do have a Rax back at home, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe this SCV was rallied here towards the left-hand side. And this could be, yeah, for an eBay block. We do have an eBay block coming in from Cure. Going to be disrupting the opener of Stats. This is an opener that has fallen off. This was very popular back in December of 2023, and even in the first half of January. Basically, in the new patch, because of the new Cyclone, this became a very common opener to force the Protoss to expand elsewhere, to take the unnatural natural, take the linear third or the triangular third as their natural base, and if they were to do that, we'd one base all in. We'd go for a fast factory into Cyclones, into Hellions, and we would break the Protoss. And we saw many Protoss players fall. We saw many Protoss players struggle and get punished and die horribly back in December and early January. Since then, Protoss players have gotten better at defending. Oh, that's a second eBay thrown down. Oh my god. Second eBay thrown down. Factory is on the way for that Cyclone production. And Stats refuses to expand elsewhere. Full Forces cancels. eBays are cancelled. A lot of lost mining time. We do expand here at the natural. But again, this build did fall off because Protoss players became that much more adept at scouting and denying the eBays. We saw players like MaxPax, Hero, Classic, Showtime. They all adapted and they all got really good at just preemptively scouting the natural and denying the eBay, essentially. Stats, his response was a little bit shaky. It was a little bit of a shaky response, but he does get his natural waste up and running. Cure doesn't go for the Cyclone because he sees that Stats hasn't exposed himself because he's still expanding here on location. He's happy forcing lost mining time, delaying the economy, and just getting to Hellion instead. Now, this is a delayed CC for Cure. That's just how the build works out because we do focus on that factory production despite the single gas. So it is a delayed CC, but Stats is far more behind than Cure. The eBay block has done its job. Hellion moving out for a scout. We've yet to really get into our tech. Again, like this opener for Stats is just really uncomfortable and really awkward because of how late the expansion is. And there it is. Twilight Council's on the way. It is going to be a Twilight Council opener here from Stats. This should be leading into Blink, and we'll see how committed we are. We casted a lot of Stats' TVP yesterday. We did cover him against Bunny, against Oliveira, and Stats has been going for, or did go for every single game, went for a Twilight Council into Blink. He mixed it up. There were some games where we went 3-gate Blink, other games where we went 2-gate Blink into a third. I don't think we saw him go for 4-gate Blink. Don't think that was ever on the table. As Cure going for a very early Marine drop. Oh my. It is spotted by Stats, big scouts, does get eyes on the drop, does get eyes on the Marines. They do not have Stim, they have vanilla Marines. And Stats, he is in position. Hallucination goes down. You're not really finding that much success, not yet. As he is denied entry into the main. Behind this, getting into really early tank production here. Again, it was a single Hellion into one Wintermine into the tech lab into tanks. So really early tank play. We do see 3 gateways, so it is going to be 3-gate Blink. Essentially with 3-gate Blink, it's a very safe opener from Stats. With this, we should be expanding and taking a third, but we also will have a decent Stalker count to push back the army and to even counterattack. Stats does have that available. Getting a lot of damage done on that medevac. Medevac does get low. Does get awfully low here as behind this we're getting into our 3-1-1 setup. Pretty standard setup here on 2 bases by Cure. Going for Raven harass towards the left hand side, and Medevac does race back home. We have Hellions just scouting, looking for a third. Speaking of, there's that third base. And interesting. So I expected this to be 3-gate Blink into a third into Colossus production. That's just what I assumed would be the case. That is not the case. Instead of Colossus, we have a Forge and we have a Templar Archives thrown down. This is going to be... Wait, am I crazy? Yeah, there it is. We have the Templar Archives thrown down. This is going to be for Archon production for Charge Lots. So it's going to be Charge Lot Archon Storm as a follow-up, not Colossus. But actually, coming back in. There it is. Storm is on the way. Is on the way here for Stats. So more of a unique build, not unheard of, but a little bit more niche here from Stats, straying away from the Colossus. It is risky, obviously high risk, high reward. Storms, they can annihilate a bio army or they could graze it, and we could even lose our High Templar, and things can very quickly snowball in favor of Cure. So it is a little bit risky here. We'll see if Stats can make use of it. Raven tries to go in, sees the Stalkers, backs up, wants none of that. Observer for Stats gets eyes on the 3rd CC on location. Now Stats knows it's not a 2-base all-in. He also has eyes on the main army, so if there was a move out, Stats would know. Stats would be aware of it. Marine going to be going down. Observer repositioning. Zealots are amassing. High Templar morphed in. And Stats, he isn't looking to push out. Oh! So we're trying to pick up any stray units here. We got eyes on the Observer. But he has Storm, and he's going to be maintaining himself here on Storm, on Charge Dots, and he's working towards eventually those Colossus. The Bay is on the way. Stats is going to be refining his army. He's going to be refining that army. Prism is on the way as well. We could even try and go for Storm Drops. Again, a little bit more old school, a little bit out of fashion, but we could try to go for them. Let's go. Prism does join the main army. High Templar loaded in just to keep them safe, and we are pushing. We are moving out. Army soon to clash. Here he scans, he sees the 3rd, he sees the lack of army. Doesn't know where it is, and we'll pull back. I mean, he has vision in the center of the map, and yeah, Cure, he will soon get eyes on the army of Stats. Does reposition as a result. Trying to keep up. Yeah, looking for the army. Finds a Zealot. Stats taking a 4th. Extento Molance on the way. Colossus production should be underway as well. Soon. No Colossus yet. We should also be working on a 2nd Robo for double Disruptor, sorry, double Colossus production. As yes, that's just posturing in the center of the map, doesn't commit. Cure likewise taking a very defensive stance. Again, I'm sure Stats wanted to engage in the center of the map. That's the strength of Zealots, especially because in the center of the map there's no Sim City. There's very little terrain that can work against you. So pushing in with Charge Dots is inadvisable. There we go. Cure is moving out. Mine Shot going to be going off. Army has been spotted. Here come the storms. Oh, first one is spent, is wasted here, zoning away the army. Not the best use of that storm. You're rotating around. Colossus are soon amassing. Again, you can see. Yes, Stats. Okay, he's going for a big warp in, working towards a Stargate. Working towards Skytos. We'll see if Stats can get there. That's Cure. He's maxed out. He's maxed out here with a Biotank army. He has Ghost for EMPs. It's going to be all about the Spellcasters. Can we EMP the High Templar? Can we storm the army? Good storm here. We do soften up those Widow Mines, but they do survive. 2 storms thrown down. We still have 4. Big anti-armor missile here on the army, and a Cure goes for a drop into the main base. A double Stargate and a Fleet Beacon on the way. We're trying to get into Skytos. High Templar being focused down. Oh, big target firing here out of Cure. Gets the High Templar, and he will shut down +1. That's going to be a kill on the side before Zealot Runby does get in. But there's a bunker. There's a bunker to defend. Cure is fine. He does hold. And again, Stats being a little bit too greedy, rushing into Skytos. So has to deal with this army. And how many Colossus does he have? 2. 2 Colossi. Harriers on the way. A storm on a handful of Marines. Zealot Runby gets cleaned up. Can Stats deal with this army? Now, the longer that we wait, the more carriers are going to be amassing. True. Looking at the vision, we did get eyes on all the Stargates. Here should be aware, and yeah, he's working on +1 ship weapons. Additional Raxes, no second starports. I'm not entirely certain that Cure is aware of the Sky Toss. He should have realized that the Cybercore was researching. That's true. Yeah, there it is. Second Stargate. Sorry, I keep saying Stargate. Second starport on the way. You know what I mean. Second starport on the way for more Viking production. For eventually Liberators. Fusion core on the way for Liberator range. Yo, where are we going? As the factory gets the hell out of the main. We're done with the factory production. Scan gets eyes on the ground army. Here is moving out. Storm here on the Vikings, big anti-missile once again on those Stalkers. The carriers, they have arrived, but we're zoned away here from our 4th base. The 4th is going to go down. We do catch the tanks. Tanks are picked up. Ooh, and here, can we engage? Storm zones away the army, does graze it. This army is so bad, it is so bruised, it's so overstimmed. And Kira is being forced back. He cannot stand his ground. Army is so low, and we save the 4th base. Getting a 5th and a 6th, double expanding. Bold move here out of stats. Mothership is on the way. That is going to add a little bit more maneuverability to the army. We're going to have 2 recalls available. That is more High Templar. The one thing that we're missing here is disruptors. I would love to see disruptors here for stats. The reason why is that EMPs can shut down High Templar. EMPs don't do anything against disruptors. They don't negate the Nova. It's a good way to support this kind of army. I mean, both have their role, right? Like, disruptors can zone away the ghosts, meanwhile storms can zone away the Vikings. Catch a ghost. We get 1. We get 2. 2 ghosts go down. We do engage big EMP here on the Stalkers. Stats is forced to blink back. But how many carriers? We have hit critical mass here. 4, 5 carriers, soon to be 6 carriers here on the field. Cloak is activated. Slow zone thrown down. Oh, the Colossus, come down. The Colossus, they overextend. Both Colossus fall. But we get a kill on the planetary. Stats bleeding out a lot of units. Again, he's on 5 carriers. A big EMP here on the High Templar, but there's still 3 more behind this. We still have more storms. Storm zones back the army. Ooh. We have 1 High Templar left, I believe. With Storm. EMP misses. Oh, EMP does connect. Towards the end. The Storm does miss. Yeah, we have to back off. I believe we have run out. Gonna be retreating. We kill the base. Here. Down to 4 CCs. Going for a triple drop. Stats, there we go. Reinforcing with more High Templar. 3 High Templar hit towards the north. More reinforcing. Plenty more High Templar on the way. But can Cure pull stats apart? Because there's not much here to defend. No shield battery. No cannons. No static defense. And we dive on the High Templar. We do focus him down. We'll force the Archon even. Soldiers do keep up. Do force this back. Stats, he can keep pushing. Does blink forward, does get the last medevac. Marines are going down, and against stats, he's gotten away with this Sky Toss. He's gotten away with the Vikings. They come in. How many Vikings? 12. Ooh, but you see the Storm zone those Vikings back. But again, Cure, he has a pretty decent army composition. Like, he's maxing out here on Bio Ghost Viking. It's okay. Ideally, we would have Ghost Viking Lib. Like, Liberators are much more ideal when it comes to supporting the ground army and supporting those Ghost. They're less vulnerable to things like storms as well. That is something we are lacking. We have the fusion core, and quickly checking, we do not have Liberator range, so we're not quite ready for it. We lift up the main base, take it as a 5th. Bit of desperation there out of Cure, but Cure is maxed. Is maxed out. That's likewise pushing on the right-hand side. Now he's getting to his second robo. Well, I imagine double disruptor production. I imagine. Well, Cure, he's out of position. Planetary is going to be going down. We do get 2 bases. At the same time, Cure is going to get a kill on this Nexus. We can recall back home after we kill these bases, or we can commit to the base trade. Do we keep pushing? What is there at home to defend? There's one Widowmine on the low ground. There's nothing in the main base. Stats, he could go right for the throat. As Cure, he gets 1 base. He's going for the southern bases as well. Stats, keep going. Doesn't go for the natural. Doesn't go for the main. He's going for the third. Yeah, a safer move here out of Stats. But he could have gone for the kill. As he does get a kill in this third base, going for the 4th. Yeah, forcing Cure to just lift up and get the hell out of here. As Stats, he still has the stronger main army. And Cure, he's going to try to fight. He's going to try and take a main fight here. Again, that's a lot of Vikings. 15. The EMPs gets a High Templar. Oh, big moment actually. 3 High Templar gets shut down. EMPs once again on the Stalkers as well. Stats, he's in a bit of trouble. Clutch Cloak. We only have 1 orbital, right? Oh, there we go. Orbital does land. We have a couple of scans available. Do have some scans. Here he's on the chase. Stats, he's remaxed. Here pulling the boys. He pulls the boys, Pappy. We're up to 10 High Templar. We have the storms again. We do have storms available. Good EMP. We connect with that 1 High Templar, but there's 3 more behind this. And 5 just got warped in. So many High Templar. And the storms are the one thing keeping Cure from just stimming on forward and diving on the army. And there are so many storms. Oh my god. Forcing out more Archons. Another storm here that we just take to the face. We run into the storm. The army, it's so bad and so bruised. No more storms left. Yeah, we do sim on forward. But Stats, he should have enough. We do deny the warp in. We deny the warp in. We're barely stimming on forward. We get on top of the army. Disruptor shot goes off. The Novas have arrived. We connect here on a Ghost, on a Marauder. He's just completely all in here. We reinforce with more Stalkers and we clean this up. Stats, he holds. He barely holds on. GG gets called and Stats takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Stats fighting back, getting away with his Sky Toss as well. Remember, he rushed into those 3 Stargates and we spoke about it. We spoke about how in that moment, Cure had an advantage. He could have pressed it, could have kept pushing, but he didn't. And I think maybe he didn't click on the buildings. Remember, when he saw the main base, he saw 1 Stargate, but he saw the other 2 morphing, but maybe he didn't click on them, maybe didn't click. Took him a while to really get into the Vikings that he needed. As a result, Stats, he was able to stabilize, able to get into his 4, eventually 5, eventually 6 base setup. He got away with the carriers, and Stats was able to accomplish quite a lot with it. Accomplished quite a lot. Also, clearly, the MVPs, the High Templar, the Storm. The Storms were the MVPs. They, time and time again, connections on the army, zoning the army away. There were a couple of, like, lackluster storms here and there, but we always had additional storms in the chamber. Or if we ever ran out, which did happen a couple of times, Stats would just retreat. Like, if we ever ran out of storms, we just back off, calm down, regenerate energy, come back in. GG. GG, well played. Really patient play there out of Stats. Whew. As we are headed into game number 2, as we're going into Oceanborn. under the sea. Let's go. Let us go. Oh, thank you, cheese and pickles. Thank you, thank you. Gracias. Hope you're all having a good day. Hope you're all enjoying yourselves as we find ourselves in game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our red Protoss player leading the series 1-0, one game away from winning it all, as it is a best of 3, not a best of 5. Representing himself, it is Stats. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. Down in this series, going for a proxy. It is Cure. Uh-oh. Not just any proxy, we're committing with a second SCV. Cure, he's had enough. He saw the late game of Stats. He saw the Sky Toss. He wants none of it. He's like, no, not anymore. We're going into some proxy Raxes instead. Let's go. Meanwhile, Stats going for a probe scout. He's heading out across the map. Trying to get a read on what's going on. Trying to piece it all together here. And we'll see if we can. See if we can, as the Raxes are getting up and running. Stats slipping in towards our main base. We'll confirm the missing Raxes. Hold up, where are your Raxes? Now, what's scary here is that in this matchup, the Rax could be in the natural, which is why he's checking. He's checking the natural. It could even be in the third. It could be further back in the main. Doesn't have to be a proxy. Like, often, Terran players will fake a proxy Rax instead. And it's going to be double proxy Rax, Marauder. Oh boy. This was very trendy a couple of months ago. Oh, I say a couple of months ago. Like 6 months ago. Last map pool, this was very trendy. There was like a period, there was like a month where this is all that Clem was doing. Clem and Cure, just non-stop proxy 2-Rax Marauder in the last map pool. And they had quite a lot of success with it. Eventually, because it was so common, it would be hard countered. Protoss players got better at defending against it. And this was phased out. But now it's back. It's back. It has returned. Marauders, they reveal themselves. They hit that natural base. Concussive shell is on the way. Because of that, Stats has to be very careful with his unit control. If he overextends, he will lose Stalkers. Or anything, really. So he has to be very careful with his movements. As we do focus on that Stalker. When it is going to go down. Big pick up there by Cure. Second Stalker has it right. We're going for the Stalker itself. Boys are being pulled. Boys are being pulled. One Marauder is going to go down. But the bunker should finish. The bunker should finish. There we go. Marauder does dive in. And with this bunker, Stats is going to have a very hard time breaking it. We have an SCV to repair. Is on repair duty. Shield batteries are finishing up. Overcharge soon to be available. Oof. Yeah, as we just waste the energy. We're running out of energy. We're running out of support. Ah. And probes are going down. We take control of the natural base. Now we have 2 more gateways on the way, but this production is so late. Yeah, and Curie snowballing out of control. Yeah, it does focus down the Stalkers. He gets one. How many shots? 1, 2, 3, 4. Up. Doesn't quite get the last Stalker. Overcharge keeps it alive, but it's running out. The overcharge does run out, and Cure, the numbers are just too heavily in his favor. It does focus down another Stalker. GG gets called, and Cure will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. Ooh, just a very late reaction from Stats. You could see towards the end. He had 2 more gates on the way, and he had a robo on the way. We did need that robo. We needed immortal production. We needed additional gateways. Unfortunately, Stats also, not just lack of production, but he was also trying to defend the natural, and that is something that he could not do. We could not actually hold on to that natural base. We had to give up on it, defending on one base instead. It looks like maybe Stats is unfamiliar with this opener. Oh, sorry, unfamiliar with this cheese. Again, I don't know how much experience Stats has nowadays, especially since, you know, he did relatively recently come back And yeah, did struggle there in the defense. GG, well played. Cure forces the ace match. We're going all the way to game number 3. Let's go. Very quick and easy game number 2 there from Cure. Proxy 2-Rax Marauder. Stats just having a really hard time responding to it. And now we find ourselves in the ace match on Solaris. It all ends here. It all ends here, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our South Korean Terran player, our blue Terran representing Team Liquid, tying up the series 1-1 in the last game. It is Cure. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss, the red Protoss player, representing himself, currently teamless, being forced into the ace match. It is Stats. Now, what I will say about Stats, something that we saw in Game 1, something that we have seen before, not just in Game 1, but in previous series. Stats' late game army control. That is on point. That is up there, you know, with the other top tier players, with players like Classic and Hero. It's what he was able to make use of and how he was able to just outdo Cure in game number 1. But can we get there? That's the thing. Can we get to these maxed out armies where Stats can really thrive? Because getting there can be quite difficult. Cure coming in with an SCV scout, he's going in with an eBay block, and once again, he will get the eBay up and running. Stats this time much faster to respond. Probe is here, boys are being pulled. And he should be able to deny this eBay. There we go, 4 probes in total. Cure being quite an annoyance here. But eventually this is going to be forced to be cancelled and Stats can expand. Oh. As he does zone that SCV away. There's a cancel, there's the expansion. Stats going for a gate, cyber expand on the other side. And Cure going to have to back off, going for that factory follow-up. Again, there is the option to go into Hellions. Oh, sorry, there's the option to go into Cyclones, but I imagine we could be going for an add-on swap just for Hellion production. We'll see. See which option we do go for. As Cure is going for a delayed command center. That's just how this build works. If you're going for an eBay, that means you don't have the money for a CC on the low ground. So we go for the factory instead. Stats coming in with a probe scout. Should get eyes on the delayed CC. To confirm that there is at least an expansion on the way.
I'm here in the shadows.
Oh, does see the add-ons of production as well. We can see that we're getting into reactor marine production and Hellions alongside it. We saw something very similar in Game 1. If you remember, in Game 1, Cure, he opened up in a very similar fashion, going into a vanilla marine drop, which wasn't able to do much damage. Stats across the map going for a Twilight Council opener. Unlike Game 1, Stats, he was able to establish himself a little bit easier. Much cleaner early game out of Stats. And we'll see if Cure goes for that medevac drop again. I don't know why. I keep wanting to say Hero. I don't know why. That's like the second time this time. Heroes on the brain. There it is. Now we're getting the Cyclones. There's the medevac for the drop play. Just as we saw in Game 1. And just like Game 1 as well, Stats is going for a Twilight Council into Blink into 3 gateways. So 3 gate Blink out of Stats, 1 gateway in the main, 2 gateways here at the natural. Again, just a really safe way to open up. Very safe. This will lead into a third. We'll see if from this point he goes into a third base, into a forge, into a Templar Archives, which would be for Charge and Storm again, or he could go into something more standard, which would be, yep, a Robo, into a Bay, into Colossus production. Oh wait, what? Wait, yeah, sorry. Some reason I thought this was the Robo. I was very confused. This is not 3 gates, by the way. That is a 4th gateway. We're going 4 gate Blink. Drop comes in. Ooh, big scouts. We get eyes on the 2nd gateway in the main base. We get eyes on the 2 gateways here at the natural. Cure, he sees everything. He sees all 4 gateways. Tank production has commenced. Stats being hyper aggressive. 4-gate blink is a way to shut down the drop and to immediately counterattack and to commit. There it is. War Prism is on the way. More Stalkers in production as well. Now again, Cure, he has full information. Good SimCity as well. 2 more maxes. We basically create a wall. And the tank is going to be on the other side of said wall. Stalkers are moving out. We do have a shield battery to defend back at home. But no units in position. As Stats is committing. Stalkers have been scouted. Cure sees a move out. He has that 1 tank in the main. He has a second tank in production. 1 bunker at the natural. This natural base is looking a little bit exposed. There is a bunker. Yes. There we go. He pre-pulls the SCVs. He sees to repair. Even Cure, he sees how vulnerable this base is. But we blink into the main. Tank is in position. Tech Lab is going to be going down. But we get some big volleys off here on the Stalkers. Ooh. Stalkers getting low. Second tank has arrived. At the same time, Cure going ham in the main. Only a handful of Stalkers to defend. Stats, he is committed. Boys are being pulled. Stalkers are going down. Yeah, big tank shots. Oof. We bleed out far too much. Stalkers, they get cleaned up. Across the map, we kill 11 probes. 12. Auto turret harass here at the natural. Late reaction out of Stats. 13 probes go down. And Stats, he's in a lot of trouble. He is down in the economy, and this build is already not economic to begin with. The third base is late because we're doubling down on Stalkers and we have not dealt enough damage. This build has to get economic damage done, and it's not been enough. I say economic damage, I mean at least resetting the tank counts. Killing tanks, killing workers. We do get a couple of SCVs. But Cure is holding. He's holding, he's defending. We have Stim on the way. +1 attack as well. Continued tank production. We have soon to be 2 tanks. Ooh, Raven does go down. Sorry, did I say Raven? Medevac goes down. Across the map. Bit of a brutal loss there. We dive on top of the bunker. Bunker does fall. Stats, can we break through? Again, so much pressure on Stats right now to get damage done. He dives on the tank, but oh, he gets punished for the dive. The Stalkers are getting annihilated by the Marines. There were just too many here in position. Stats, he got a tank, but again, at what cost? At the cost of 7 Stalkers for 1 tank. Aye, aye, aye. 10 SCVs as well, but still not ideal. Raven still across the map. And Stats is all in. Stats, he's all in at this point. He does focus on that tank. Gets 1, but 2 volleys, but Stim is now done. Once again, we punish that blink. And Cure chases this down. 1 tank for 5 Stalkers. Oof. Cure maintains his worker lead. Has a tank on the high ground. Volley goes up. Stats, he avoids the tank. Tries to at least. Once again, he is cornered. Yeah, the Marines, they stand their ground. They Stim on forward. 3 Stalkers escape. GG gets called. That's not good enough. And Cure will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Cure. I was shocked to see Stats go for 4-gate blink. Again, I feel like Stats, his strengths, they lie in a longer game, in the mid game, towards the late game. That's where Stats can be his strongest. Instead, Stats, he tried to spice it up here, hyper aggressive with his build, but unfortunately he was punished for it. As Stats was committing with his 4-gate blink Stalkers, the Marine drop did even more damage. Remember, the Marine drop alongside the Raven harass killed 13 probes. 13 probes died. And unfortunately, Cure saw everything. That's the flip side of things. Cure, he scouted all 4 gateways before we even moved out. So he was fully aware of what was happening. That's why he had beautiful SimCity. That's why he was already getting into tank production. And that's why he pre-pulled the SCVs to save that bunker on the low ground as well. Like Cure, he was fully aware of what Stats was doing, and he was able to prepare and shut it down. So GG, well played. Really good scouting out of Cure. and just a really unfortunate position for Stats, as he was scattered and he was seen. And in the end, Stats, he was just all in. Like, at a certain point, it was damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he had tried to back off and take a third, then he'd just be behind. And being behind against Cure, or just being at that big of a deficit against a player of the caliber of Cure, is just something you can't do. You just cannot recover from there. So it was all in. GG, well played. Congratulations. Congratulations to Cure for taking the series 2-1 and for making it out of Group B, because we have wrapped up with our coverage of Group B. GG, well played. Whew. To wrap things up, of course, as we did cast all of the matches, Shin came out in first place. Shin, he came out in first place. We saw Shin pop off in this group, by the way. Shin, he was able to take down Stats 2-0. He 2-0'd Cure, and he 2-0'd Clem. That was a big win that we casted earlier today. Shin, he popped off against Terran players. He did lose against Bunny, but he went to the ace match. Went all the way to the ace match, and Bunny was able to bring Shin down. Again, Bunny recently has been looking really strong in ZBT. Sorry, in TVZ. Where Bunny, he took down Shin at IEM, and Bunny took down Dark in the GSL qualifiers. If you missed it, we casted the GSL qualifiers a couple of days ago for this season of GSL, and Bunny, again, was looking terrifying in the Terran versus Zerg matchup. Unfortunately, and not just that, I mean, even here, we saw Bunny pop off in TVT, and I'm just double checking. So, Shin, he came out in first place in this group. Cure came out in second. Cure, his only loss was against Shin, by the way. He only lost against Shin. Cure beat everyone else. Bunny, Oliveira, Stats, and Clem. And Clem and Bunny were neck and neck. And I was really curious here. It's close, but yes. If Bunny had 2-0'd Clem, then Bunny makes it out, and Clem doesn't. Like, honestly, it came down to that series. It did come down to that TVT, and that's that much more brutal. That's so sad. But yeah, we have confirmation. If Bunny had taken that game on Hecate, if he had 2-0'd Clem, then he would have advanced on, which would have been crazy, by the way. It would have been wild if Clem didn't make it out of the group stage, but he also rolled a really rough group. We spoke about it, but we spoke about it in the lead up to IEM. When I saw the groups initially, I was like, ooh, a TVT group. That's not good for Clem. Like, TVT is Clem's worst matchup. And for him to be stuck in a group with Cure and Bunny and Oliveira was a scary thing. Made it through anyway, but again, it was still so close, and it's a little bit on Bunny there. And hopefully, I mean, hopefully that bodes well. Like, the bright side of it, if you're a fan of Bunny, is that, hey, clearly Bunny, like, if he can take it to Clem, if he can take it to these other Terran players, like his TVT is looking strong, right? It's like his ZVT is looking terrifying. We saw it against Dark, we saw it against Shin. It bodes well for Bunny coming into GSL, right? Like, remember, he qualified for GSL over Dark. He's going to be in this most recent season, this upcoming season of GSL. So look forward to watching more Bunny in the Global StarCraft League. So, you know, that's the bright side here. If you're a fan of Bunny and if you want more Bunny action, he's clearly in form. He's clearly in form coming into GSL. So definitely a player to look out for. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a deep run. I'm not saying he's going to win the whole thing, but like a solid at least quarterfinals run, maybe semifinals run for Bunny. I can see it. I can see it. Depending on the groups and depending on the bracket. We'll see. On the other side, you know, Oliveira had a bit of a harder time here as well. Quickly just double checking. Yeah, Oliveira, he fell to Shin, Cure, and Clem. I had some really nice TVTs, don't get me wrong. But again, the TVT matchup has been shifting around a lot, and Oliveira does have to adapt here and embrace the new TVT matchup, which is a shame because Oliveira, he excelled so well last year at IEM, and a part of that was because of his Terran versus Terran, you know, positional play, map awareness, map control. Like, TVT was a very different matchup a year ago, which is kind of crazy to say. I feel like mirror matchups very rarely change, but because of the new patch, because of the new map pool and the new Cyclone, TVT is very different. It's very different nowadays, and all of our Terran players here have to adapt, have to embrace, whether they like the new Cyclone or not, they have to embrace it if they want to get good at it. And it is something that Oliveira has to come to terms with, I feel. Regardless, GG, well played. Solid group there. And we have wrapped up here for the day. We wrapped up, Bobby. Oh, beautiful. Tell the truth, lad. You're staying in Poland for good, aren't you? No, no. I've already mentioned I'm coming back to Australia next month. Next month, I'm coming back to Australia, which means we're going to have cams again. We will eventually have cams again. It's all coming back. It's all coming back. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Cams are coming back. But that's going to be in March. Going to be in March. Will be back in March. I look forward to it. Look forward to it once again. I don't look forward to having to have a worse sleep schedule. Like I've mentioned this before, it is so much easier casting in Europe because a lot of events are just easier and like friendlier for the European time zone. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Not so much for Australian time zones as yeah. We'll have to readjust my sleep schedule when that does come to pass. But regardless, no, I do look forward to it. I miss my kangaroos, Papi. I miss my platypus. Platypus. But yeah, with that, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the support. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate it. Our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow. Technically, so I do have the replays for ESL Americas. For ESL Cup Americas, I have the replays. We can schedule a cast for it. I could cast it later on tonight, but I think I'm going to save it for next week. I'm going to save it for next week just because this week we were so busy with the GSL qualifiers. Next week we have some free days. We have some free days available. So I can just schedule and organize the ESL Americas Cups then. I think that's going to be the plan. That's going to be the plan. So yeah, our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be going over something different, something special, a one-off, a show match. Hyper One has organized a show match here between two lovely players. It's going to be a best of 7 between Gemini and Universe. Yeah. It's going to be a best of 7 show match here in just under 24 hours. Look forward to it. Gemini versus Universe. Universe, for those who don't know, he is a Korean Terran player. Pretty similar skill level to Gemini. If you don't know who Gemini is, he's GGE Mini. I think there are some numbers towards the end. But Gemini, he is the social media guy behind Onside. Onside Gaming, he is, of course, in charge of the Twitter, in charge of the social media. So if you see some memes from Onside, Gemini, he's the person behind those memes. And he's also a big part of the community. He's a big part of All Things Protoss, the All Things Protoss Reddit. He's a big part of that. He also does Protoss Wall-Off guides, so he's very useful. If you're a Protoss player, if you're laddering, if you've looked up Wall-Off guides for Protoss matchups in every new map pool, Gemini has you covered there. I think he also posts like builds and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a big part of the community, and you know, even works in a little bit. Does live in Korea. I think he's a teacher. I think he's an English teacher in Korea, if I remember correctly. But yes, there is a bit of a show match going on in 24 hours, so we got you covered there. Show match, man. Show match. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Gonna be a lot of good fun. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow for that show match. We also have, after the show match, we have tomorrow the Logic Games. The hell is the Logic Games? Well, Bappy. It is going to be a pretty big tournament. There's quite a lot of money behind it. It's going to be a 400 USD prize pool. It's going to be double elimination bracket here. Nothing too fancy, but it's going to be just a really big bracket, a really big tournament. Shout out to all the people sponsoring it. There are sponsors like Logic. Hyper One is behind it as well. It's a part of it. It's a part of the overseas circuit. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty big tournament on Saturday. So We will indulge. I'm looking at the bracket right now. We have players like Björn, players like Azura, Mio Maika, Echo Soldier. I do see Forjumi. Honmono, Hatsu. Hatsu is there. Who else do I recognize? Christianer, Arez, Jomek, Kot, Nickrat, Iba. I see Iba there. Middle. It's a massive. Oh my god. How many rounds? We have like a round of what? Like 128? Oh my god. We have Gref, Mixu, Aristri, Neo Shaggy, Universe. I'll be honest, the biggest name I see here is Björn. Ooh, and I don't know who's the second biggest name. Who can contest against Björn? I don't see Max Pax. I don't see Clem. I don't see any of the other big European. I think the biggest names to contest against Björn is going to be the Polish players, or the Polish Protosses, Geralt and Christianer. Geralt, Christianer, maybe Nickeract. Nickeract is a TVT sniper. He's beaten Björn before. Maybe Nickeract, maybe Jumi. It's going to be a brutal bracket. It's going to be who can stop Björn? Who can stop him? We'll find out. But a really big bracket. So look forward to it. Also on Saturday. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow replays, tomorrow live. No. Sunday. We're going to be going over viewer replays on Sunday because that is the return of the Sparkling Tunica. That's going to be on Sunday. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, we're going to be continuing the IEM broadcast coverage next week with Group C. Group C will be next week. Look forward to it. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.
Making history. Absolutely phenomenal.
And Ace is the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters World Finals.
Storm's still not quite done. MC is going to take this fight, though. 3 seconds left.
Last 2 rounds of action's got to start it well for ESC.
And this is a massive move for Zez, but he's not content with just a Nexus kill. He wants to win.
And it's all done. And Charlotte's winning. Unbelievable Rogue with a 4-0 victory over Classic.
And they did it again in the grand final.